And welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by Sling TV. On a Sunsplash Saturday afternoon, we welcome you inside SB Ballard Stadium, beautiful Norfolk, Virginia. And the home of the ODU Monarchs with Wake Forest in town. The Demon Deacons out of the ACC, undefeated at 2-0. ODU at 1-1 out of the Sun Belt, and coming off a big win here at home against Louisiana 1 week ago. So glad you could join us. College football is back. The beginning of week number 3. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor, T-Mac on the sidelines, and Roddy, Wake Forest back to their high-scoring ways again in 2023.
Yeah, since Dave Clawson got this thing rolling back really in 2016, they have been one of the most dynamic offenses in the entire country. It hasn't really mattered who's been at quarterback. John Wolford, Jamie Newman, Sam Hartman, and now Mitch Griffis. They've had great receiver play. That's no exception this year. They've had great running back play. That's no exception this year. And Mitch Griffis, the early returns are that he is going to be the next in line of a great line of Wake Forest quarterbacks.
Wake Forest won the coin toss and deferred. Tyler Black on to kick things away for the Deacs. Second meeting on time between these programs. They're expecting a packed house here as we get deeper into this first half. Marion James back deep to receive. And it's one of those weekends in college football. You look at the slate and you wonder where are the big games going to come from. Upsets galore typically as we check in for the first time with Taylor McGregor.
Well, Roy, first off, we'll see Old Dominion's offense. And when it comes to them offensively, think a little bit of Chip Kelly's spread offense combined with what Josh Heupel does at Tennessee. They run with a lot of tempo, and they want to use tempo as a weapon for them. And so for Wake Forest to prepare for this game, Brad Lambert went back to his time at Purdue and watched film from when he faced Tennessee, and he said all the struggle came with alignment issues. During practice this week, he had his defense start facing backwards, and then they had to turn around instantaneously and to adjust. So let's see if they can handle that tempo here today.
Yeah, that tempo is legit. Grant Wilson on the field. You saw his numbers. A transfer from Fordham. And Keyshawn Wicks along the left side will pick up 4. It'll be second down.
Talk about that tempo. This ODU offense also creates a lot of space like Tennessee. Just watch how wide the receivers line up, trying to eliminate those half players, those players that play halfway between the receivers and the box.
Delayed give, Wicks straight ahead with authority, pushing across the 35. And that will be enough for a first down. Dylan Hazen, Jacob Roberts combined to make the stop. The Deacs still without the services of Chase Jones today at linebacker. Using that tempo, Wilson's pass incomplete. Kelby Williams the intended target. And Deshaun Jones came over the back that time. No flag, Roddy.
Yeah, it's a good no call. That ball was basically in the dirt, and while Jones arrived a little early, there was no chance to catch it. And that's the thing that can really disrupt tempo, Roy. Negative plays. So if Wake's able to create tackles for loss and then incomplete passes, those are the two things that really throw off tempo. Old Dominion opted to sub there to give Wake Forest a chance to slow it down as well.
4-man front for Brad Lambert's defense. And this is what ODU will do. They'll make you think they're going to go fast and then look over to the sideline to get the play. Play action and too high, looking for Dominic Dutton. Quickly, it's third down. Bryce Gaines applying the pressure, and he was coming in quickly.
It was almost instantaneous from Gaines. And he was in the lap of Grant Wilson, forcing that high throw. A couple of incompletions, got it to 3rd and 10.
First possession of the afternoon. Pocket collapses on Wilson. He'll try to step forward, and he cannot. Sacked back at the 31. So after the initial first down, a loss of 4. And the punt team on the field for ODU.
It's a great blitz drawn up by Brad Lambert. All 3 linebackers are right there together. One of those is defensive end Kendron Wayman. He goes first. You've got Jacob Roberts coming second. Dylan Hazen after him. It's a train of linebackers coming through the hole, and they get the sack on Grant Wilson.
Hazen crashing down, 4th down and 14. Here's Ethan Dwayne, ODU punter from Australia. And the wobbler fair caught at the 35 by Taylor Morin. punt of 34, and our first look at Mitch Griffis stepping in for Sam Hartman, who's now at Notre Dame, and he's off to a pretty good start.
He really is, and there's no surprise. He's a guy who waited his time, took him to his 4th year at Wake Forest for him to become the full-time starter, learned behind Sam Hartman, and was able to really master this offense. He's got great ability to move outside of the pocket, can take off and run it a little bit, throws from some different arm angles, Roy. And look, Wake Forest has had as consistent quarterback play, maybe even more consistent quarterback play than anybody in the ACC since 2016.
Justice Ellison healthy. He'll get the start at running back. Slow mesh on the first play, and stacked up after a gain of 2 as we check in with T-Mac.
Well, with Wake Forest, we've known them in the last several years to have a lot of yards through the air and a lot of tempo, but we are seeing them evolve right in front of our eyes. Last year, they led the ACC in average passing yards per game, and this year, 288 yards on the ground last week for them against Vanderbilt, so watch out for the rushing attack.
Griffis straight ahead, stops short of the 40. It'll be 3rd down after a 2-yard pickup. Malcolm Britt got home.
Old Dominion did a nice job on the back end, taking away those short routes. And now, if you're Wake Forest, Jamal Banks is the go-to receiver for this Deacon crew. He is one-on-one with the best cover corner, Lamarian James, at the bottom.
Number 80 in white, Griffis looks his direction late, and the pass is intercepted. The first turnover of the season forced by ODU's defense, and it was E.J. Green. And Roddy, they've been waiting on that one.
Only team in the country not to have a sack and a forced turnover. And on the first drive, they get to Mitch Griffis. That play just looked off from the beginning. The routes weren't great. The pressure was by Amari Morrison. And the pass, Mitch Griffis hit as he throws, kind of fluttered in the air. And a nice job by that defense of sealing the deal.
Now, Ricky Ronnie, the head coach for the Monarchs, has been asked about it for the last couple of weeks. When are the turnovers coming? He said, listen, we're punching at the ball. We've been close. We've had our opportunities. In addition to sacks, it hasn't happened. Well, it happens here on the first possession for the Deacs. 4th season, really his 3rd campaign if you go back to 2020, the year that was eliminated for ODU football. Devin Roche comes in at running back. A couple of carries on this season. Get one here across the face mask. No penalty flag, just a 1-yard gain on 1st down.
Yeah, I actually think he got the top of the helmet more than the face mask. It did look bad, though.
Anytime you see the head on a swivel and it gets pulled around,
you jump right to it. It's got to be a face mask. Interesting, though, that we've seen Old Dominion go check with me more than the just press the gas tempo.
Roche still on the field. Play action for Wilson. Wants to go deep. Could not get it off, and he'll be sacked again. 2nd sack for the Wake Forest defense, Quincy Bryant. Roddy, that's a loss of 5.
Well, it looked like he was trying to go to Dominic Dutton, who was matched up with one of the best corners in the ACC in Kalen Carson. But he's looking to his left at Dutton. Then he kind of comes back over the middle. Nowhere to go there. Call that a coverage sack. You typically don't get those on the half rolls. Watch Kalen Carson, a guy who's projected to be a 1st or 2nd round pick at corner, all over Dominic Dutton.
3rd down and long. Dutton had the touchdown going back 2 weeks ago at Virginia Tech.
Check out this defensive alignment for Wake Forest. You got the 4 defensive linemen, and then almost everybody else is about 10 yards away.
3rd and 14. Wilson feels the pressure again. Will heave it downfield. Comeback route is not there. Granger was open. The pass sailed high, 3 and out.
That was really caused by Jasheen Davis. Had a great spin move to the inside to create that pressure and that rollout. But Grant Wilson early in this one, just a little off with his throws, Roy. Hasn't really been on. We saw 1 go low, 2 go high, throwing a couple of pressures and sacks, and it has not been a great start for this ODU offense.
Offense caught fire last week in the win against Louisiana. Wilson 13 of 19, but threw 4 touchdowns. Nearly 250 yards. It's been a punting contest so far between these two teams. Warren will let it bounce and rule dead near the 20. Punt of 43. Deacs get it back. Possession number 2 for the team from the ACC after this.
It's a great day to be great, man. Yeah, Steph, you look like an athlete out here, baby. Play for something bigger than yourself. Play for something bigger than yourself. Hey, all you, I do, 1, 2, 3. Hey, I'll do your job. Let me fly around. I'll do mine. Here we go, here we go. Hey, 60 minutes is all you got. 60 minutes is all you got. Hey, LB's, I'll do 1, 2, 3.
That's your coach on the field saying, do your job, the mantra for head coach Ricky Rahne and ODU in 2023. And Jason Henderson led the free world in tackles a year ago. Off to a roaring start again this season. And a quick infraction here on the Deeks.
There is no foul on the play. The ball had not been set ready for play.
Well, microcosm of the start in this one for both offenses. 11 combined plays, 8 total yards thus far, Roddy.
Yeah, it's a false start on the false start. You get a look at James Henderson. That 192 tackles since 2022. Last year, he was 31 tackles above number 2 in the country.
Mic'd up today. We appreciate that. Jason Henderson. And a short gain of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 9 after Damon Claiborne got a touch. Devin Brant Epps with the tackle.
I called Jason Henderson James Henderson. Little James Harrison in there as well.
There's a lot of James Henderson linebackers, it feels like, over the years.
It's a great linebacker name. Jason
Henderson even better. That one tips. 3rd down as Devin Brant Epps crashed the pocket again.
It has been tough sledding for Wake Forest from a pressure standpoint. Haven't really been able to get open. Mitch Griffis has had a lot of muddiness in the pocket. They push the pocket, able to get their hands up and tip that ball.
Griffis 5'11", 193, a redshirt sophomore. Try to buy some time here. Shovels it ahead. Claiborne has it, and a 1st down. Nifty play. We see a little bit of that from Griffis and the way he carries himself at quarterback. That's a gain of 10.
A really good job of movement in the pocket. Dish it to your running back who has a chance to be special. He gets the 1st down.
Mitch Griffis called Damon Claiborne a glitch, and you see that on a play like what we just witnessed. And of course, on cue, he trips up over the turf monster.
I think Mitch Griffis actually tripped him as he was trying to get away.
Did anybody ever refer to you as a glitch at Georgia Tech?
No. Except for when I dropped passes, they would ask, was that a glitch?
That's not nice.
Glitch in the Matrix.
You're a big fan of Claiborne and his potential. We'll talk more about it today. There have been a lot of great running backs at Wake Forest since the turn of the century. Griffis brought down again, a nominal pickup. It'll be 3rd down and long. I'll go back to Chris Barclay, Kenneth Walker III. Of course, he transferred up to Michigan State. And there's Henderson with the stop. Head coach Dave Clawson. And next in a line of greats could be Claiborne. And even Justice Ellison, who's now healthy. There's pressure. Griffis drilled. And a pass is caught by Banks. Jamal Banks in plus territory. Against that near sideline, covered by James. No problem for number 80 in white.
ODU ends up sending a blitz, and they get a free rusher at the quarterback, but Mitch Griffis just throws it up to his go-to receiver, and that's the danger that Wake Forest has had for years at receiver. Great 50-50 jump ball receivers, and Jamal Banks at 6'4" uses his body to shield it away from the defender.
And those two came to Wake Forest at the same time. Griffis will be sacked. Jason Henderson, 42, crashing the pocket. That's a loss of 7.
Actually, it was 43. Chris Trinidad that was able to get in the backfield. First sack this season, first turnover this season for ODU on defense. For ODU, 43. Chris Trinidad, who's that 4th defensive lineman when they decide to go 4 down, does a nice job getting in the backfield.
On 2nd and long, the swing pass Claiborne. Tried the spin and not today. Drilled at the 40 and dropped by Rasheed Reason.
So often you see those defenders, Roy, on the inside move, sort of duck in, and then you can spin off of them and get back outside. Rasheed Reason gave Damon Claiborne a reason to not try that again.
That's form tackling 101. 3rd and long. Here comes pressure. Griffiths off the back foot. Heaves it out of bounds. Wesley Grimes was there. Off the fingertips, and it's 4th down as we check in the studio for the first time. KC.
All right, Roy, red bandana game at Boston College. Number 3, Florida State, a bit short-handed today. And look at the Eagles. Thomas Castellanos to Lewis Bond. Touchdown, BC. Roy, they're out to a 7-0 lead on ABC.
4th and 14 coming up. And a fair catch made at the 13. Scoreless in Norfolk. 7:14 to go in our first quarter as we step aside at Ballard Stadium.
ESPN College Football is presented by Sling TV. The college football you love, the live TV you love, and in part by Sonic $2.99 Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites.
Welcome to the Sun Belt ODU. It was almost 1 year ago to the day, early September 2022. The Monarchs pull off the upset here in the Commonwealth against Virginia Tech. The debut for Brent Pry, the head coach of the Hokies. Watson, the late touchdown. First game as a member of the Sun Belt Conference. Yeah, they stormed the field here in Norfolk, Ronnie.
Yeah, I would have stormed the field as well. That game had so many layers to it. Obviously, you got Virginia Tech and Old Dominion, but Ricky Ronnie and Brent Pry were on the same staff at Penn State just a couple years before.
Another touch for the ODU offense. Wicks delayed give and stopped near the line, a 1-yard gain, and that's it. Jacob Roberts got there. This is where the Atlantic Coast Conference has to be a little careful. We've seen road games against Group of 5 programs going back to 2020, and 3 different occasions we've seen teams from the ACC come away with a loss, including that game we just showed you from last year. It's otherwise been a good start for the conference in 2023. What Florida State and North Carolina did in the opening week of the season. 3rd down and long coming up now for ODU. Justin Williams brought down Wicks.
Old Dominion had a lot of success running the football early on that drive. On 3rd down, they line up a tempo.
Working quickly, backside pressure. Wilson got rid of it. That's a first down and a lot more. Javon Harvey racing towards the sidelines. And the first big play of the afternoon goes to the Monarchs in a gain of 58.
It's a really nice delivery by Grant Wilson under pressure, which he's been for most of this game. You get a free rusher up the middle, a tackle wrapping around, delivery accurate, and then after the catch, Javon Harvey makes this Wake Forest defense pay. Grant Wilson's first completion of the game ends up going for a big one.
1 of 4 for 58 yards. We'll see if that opens the floodgates. The ODU offense on the wheel. He was open. Wilson the other way and incomplete. Harvey the intended target. Boy, Jalen Butler was running wide open. Beautifully designed play with offensive coordinator Kevin Decker.
Yeah, it was a little half roll with the tight end throwback, tight end wheel from the field side going to the boundary. And you're right, Roy, he was wide open. If Grant Wilson could find any way to stop and just toss it back, would have been a touchdown.
From the 25, 2nd and 10. Wilson will keep it. All kinds of real estate. Nice move. He'll slide down crossing the 20. Gain of 6.
With the way Wake Forest has played so far on those zone read plays, they're going to have to do that a couple of times just to take that backside end out of the play and make him respect the quarterback run.
Monarchs in the red zone. First time either side has been in the red zone today. Officially 3rd down and 3. Wicks coming off career highs in rush yards each of the last 2 games. Straight ahead here, he needs 3. He'll get 2, and that's it. And decision time for Ricky Rahne. Roberts and Bryant combine to make the stop on 3rd down.
It's a really nice job by Quincy Bryant up the middle, stoning the tackle and not giving any room for the running back to sneak through a little hole. Ricky Rahne deciding to kick the field goal here early on. Get your team on the board, get points on the board, make Wake Forest chase you from behind. You can make this field goal.
Ethan Sanchez, a perfect 3 for 3 this season. This attempt from 34. Right on the right hash. Sophomore from Dallas, Georgia. 10 of 13 a year ago. Plenty of distance and no good. Pushed it wide right. Well, a win for Dave Clawson's club on the road. And we remain scoreless. 4:18 to go here in our first quarter in Norfolk.
It's time now for your Twisted Tea drop-in. K-State out to the 7-0 lead, Sam, when Brady Cook finds Luther Burden.
Luther Burden, the true freshman last year, had 8 total touchdowns, most among all true freshmen, doing it again.
Tied up at 7 right now in Columbia as we head back to Roy, Roddy, and Taylor.
Casey, thank you very much. Como always active for O'Field this time of year. Big game today against the defending champs in the Big 12. Mitch Griffiths tackled from behind, a gain of 1. E.J. Green has already recorded an interception in our first quarter, and he gets the stop there.
And the pressure on Mitch Griffiths has been the thing that has been most surprising to me. This was a defense that did not have a sack coming into this game. They have put the Wake Forest quarterback under a lot of duress.
More duress. Penalty marker flies in, 2 in fact. And along the near sideline, a 3-yard pickup on the quick toss. We'll check the penalty. I want to go back to 4th down too, Roddy, because it was 4th and about 2 yards, maybe less than that. A chip shot field goal. Playing at home as an underdog against a Power 5 team. If you're Ricky Rahne, do you think about rolling the dice there?
Yeah, you certainly do. You're trying to make these decisions.
Personal foul, chop block. Offense number 6 and number 54. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, 2nd down.
You're trying to make these decisions based on a number of factors. One of them is you get a look at the chop block. One of the decisions that you're trying to weigh is what kind of game is playing out. This feels like a defense game, but in this situation, early in the game, touchdowns affect your win percentage a lot more than field goals do, and even chip shot field goals are never perfect.
Analytics is what I'm hearing right there. 2nd down and long. Griffiths, clean pocket for the most part. Now the ball pops out. Who has it? Early indication, Wake Forest jumped on top of it. Griffiths had all afternoon to throw. And the pocket collapsed in a hurry. And it was Satchwell, big number 10, that got home.
The best part of what Old Dominion has done early on with their pass rush is keep Mitch Griffiths generally in the pocket by collapsing it around him. He actually tries to protect the football halfway decently. It just gets punched out. And now Wake Forest is in a really precarious situation.
It's a loss of 8. Griffiths standing in his own end zone.
I feel like you have to run the ball here. There's been way too much pressure on Mitch Griffiths to drop back to pass.
Ellison along the left side will push his own offensive lineman away. Race out to the 7, and that's it. Three-and-out force by the ODU defense after the missed field goal from 34 yards out. Dave Clawson kind of back to the drawing board as Wake's offense has gone backwards in this first quarter.
Yeah, this Wake offense has been all kinds of disjointed.
Only 41 total yards for the Deacs. Isaiah Page calls for the fair catch at his own 49 after a punt up 43. Well, don't forget, we'll have 2 ESPN primetime games tonight. Number 11 Tennessee travels down to the Swamp to take on Florida at 7 Eastern. That's 4 Pacific. Then Coach Prime. Number 18 Colorado square off against rival CSU, as in Colorado State. Rocky Mountain Showdown. What a night for football. We will go ahead and tell you We both think that Florida has a chance to win at home against Tennessee, and Coach Prime in Boulder, well, the impact already being felt nationwide.
Look, man, I've got my hat on, my sunglasses. Even when I talk to grown-ups, to grown folk. Man, why did Jay Norvell say that?
I don't know.
I mean, just don't say anything.
He's trying to steal a couple of headlines out there. I don't know. I don't think that's going to turn out very well for the Rams. Wilson brought down in a loss of 4.
Not a lot.
So we check in again with T-Mac.
Not a lot going right for Wake Forest early on, and defensive coaches not happy after that last series for Old Dominion. They were saying to their guys, we need better technique, better precision. There are wide open splits, and we cannot let them beat us inside. Roddy, what have you seen?
I mean, other than the big play, they've done a decent job of getting pressure. In the run game, though, they did have a couple early on where Old Dominion was able to find some room.
Roche bolts ahead. And a 3-yard gain will get almost back to the original line of scrimmage. This entire first quarter, it feels herky-jerky in nature. Neither offense able to really muster any kind of significant consistency. 3rd down and 10. Roche motions out. Wilson come back the other way. Jordan Bly tries to stay on his feet. He had plenty of green in front of him. Just a 2-yard pickup, and Kevin Pointer brought him down. Otherwise, that's a big play in the sticks move.
Man, it was a great idea by Jordan Bly to reverse field and try and get back out towards the sideline. But just the stumble let Wake Forest close in. Did you expect a defensive battle in this one? Because I certainly did not.
You and I talked pregame. I thought it was going to be high scoring. Points everywhere. 15 minutes in, we've been nowhere close to that.
I have been wrong about 3 of the 4 games we've done this year and how they were going to play out, so I didn't even make a guess.
Morin calls for the fair catch. Listen, a full sprint, he'll make it after a punt of 33. They don't pay you to be wrong or right. They pay you to have an opinion. There's no shortage of those.
Stole that from, I think it was, who said that? Colin Cowherd gave that one, but yeah. Doesn't matter. No one's keeping score other than me, and my score is not good so far.
15 seconds to go here in our first quarter. And the Deacs, the wrong side of the ledger when it comes to rush yards today. Negative territory.
Old Dominion's defensive line so far in this game has defined how this game has gone for Wake Forest on defense. There's been really good coverage on the back end.
Claiborne, the running back. Claiborne brought down behind the line, another TFL. Amari Morrison active in our first 15 minutes.
It's just penetration on this outside zone play, which you're always in danger of on outside zone. But the running back doesn't see it particularly well. I'm not sure there was a cutback at all, but the penetration killed that play.
15 minutes in, the defenses have been the story. We are scoreless in Norfolk. Sunbelt versus the ACC here at ODU.
Welcome back here to Old Dominion, here with head coach Ricky Rahne of the Monarchs. Coach, you guys have been able to limit Wake Forest offensively. What has worked so well, especially being able to get pressure on their quarterback?
Yeah, I just think our defensive line is getting some nice push. We're kind of segmenting their inside zone right now and their outside zone. So right now I'm really proud of how our defensive line is playing. And the guys behind them are kind of filling the gaps and doing what we're supposed to do.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Roy?
T-Mac, thank you. Off the tip, that could have been big issue for the Deacs. Taylor Morin could not corral the pass. Start our second quarter. We are scoreless at Ballard Stadium. 3rd down and long coming up, Roddy.
And again, the late pressure by Old Dominion's able to just make it uncomfortable for Mitch Griffiths. They go with a bunch formation to the bottom. There's not one-on-one at the top. You got a safety over the top, so he's going to have to come back down to the bottom of your screen.
Griffiths escapes off the fake and the hesitation. Tripped up near the 25. That'll be short of the line to gain. Jason Henderson Well, he got there to stop Griffiths for a gain of just 9.
Because Old Dominion's been able to get pressure with 4, it allows you to keep a safety over the top to the field where you're trying to get a one-on-one. So then you come down to the boundary. You've got 3 receivers running routes. There's just not enough room. Old Dominion's done a great job of coverage, a great job of pressure. This defense has been fantastic so far.
Isaiah Page back deep to receive this punt from Ivan Mora. Are you surprised by this start?
Yeah, I am. I did not think Old Dominion's defensive front would control the game as much as they have.
Mora will bounce it. Whistle dead at the 39 as we check in again with Kevin Connors.
All right, Roy, Wake opens ACC play next week. Louisville's already 1-0 in conference play. And Sam, how about Jack Plummer hooking up with Jamari Thrash?
The Georgia State transfer, Jamari Thrash, 4th touchdown of the season. Jack Plummer making plays.
Covers 85 yards, 7-0 Louisville. Meantime, LSU behind Malik Neighbors up 10-0.
Jaden Daniels, 12 for 12, over 100 yards. Great play.
IU Bengals, Roy, a 10-0 lead on Mississippi State.
How about Jaden Daniels being perfect? And Louisville has been the most explosive team in the ACC so far in the season.
Did we expect that, though, with
I did not. Not
that
that quick. Not that quick. I mean, they have been so explosive.
Wake's bottled up. He'll lose a couple. ODU gets it back in a scoreless game here at Norfolk. It's Roberts and Jasheen Davis pushing the pile backwards that time with a Wake defensive front. And a false start here against the Monarchs will back them up 5.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
First penalty against ODU today. They have been fairly clean this year when it comes to those infractions. Not forcing the turnovers and sacks, which that's already changed this afternoon. The penalties for head coach Ricky Ronnie, they haven't been there, and that's something they take a lot of pride in.
Well, Taylor talked about dealing with tempo early on. Old Dominion has not gone super fast. On that play, they tried to go turbo speed, and they caught Wake Forest not lined up on defense. Unfortunately, they jumped as well.
Play action, Wilson. Floats one long. Has a man. Pass is going to be caught. It's Harvey. Inside the 10, towards the pylon for the ODU touchdown. .68-yard scoring strike, and the Monarchs on the board first.
How about the delivery by Grant Wilson?
Well, the ingredients of an upset in play in Norfolk. And just like that, it's 7-0.
Roy, it's been choppy for both teams offensively, so what do? You dial up a double move. Javon Harvey against Shamari Glasgow, and it is, I have reservations for 6. Thank you very much.
Somebody gotta dig down deep.
And welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Sling TV. The second quarter continues 7-0, and another look at Harvey going long.
Well, it's great protection by the offensive line. If you have a double move, you got to give your quarterback time to throw. And Javon Harvey had a great route. It's a little post and go down the field, double move. He's actually got one-on-one coverage, and the corner's far off, but he sells the post, which gets him open down the field. Great delivery by Grant Wilson, and just like that, this game feels different because Wake hasn't gotten much going on offense.
Harvey, 3rd leading receiver last year for the Monarchs. Right here in Norfolk at Lake Taylor High School. And a big-time difference maker right now. Here are featured games on ESPN Plus tonight. Oklahoma State hosting South Alabama. Texas Tech hosts Tarleton State, and Auburn hosting Sanford. Live from Jordan-Hare. Coverage of all 3 games start at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. To get ESPN Plus, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. Well, things are interesting on the Plains. Hugh Freeze coming back into the SEC. We'll see what the Tigers can get accomplished as they gear up for some mammoth games later this month.
Like every game in that division is a mammoth game.
Big game right now for Wake Forest and the ACC. Here on the road to the Sun Belt, Justice Ellison. Hesitation, he'll spin ahead towards the 29. Be a 4-yard gain on first down. Terry Jones, the tackle.
You know, this is kind of one of those games, it feels like, for Wake Forest, where when someone is off, it's felt like on every play. That time they go with a counter play, because they haven't had much success with the zone stuff. And it's a second-level defender that's supposed to be blocked by a receiver that makes the play.
Second time we've seen the slow mesh. Ellison will burst forward. Be 3rd down and 2.
It feels like a big first down, or big 3rd down for Wake. They just got hit with the big play, haven't gotten a lot going. This first down, if they were able to get it, would be big.
Time for Griffiths. The pump fake, incomplete. 3 and out for the Deacs again.
And Roy, they had favorable numbers in the box. 5 defenders in the box for those 5 offensive linemen. They decide to sling it, and there's just been no separation amongst these Wake receivers. With the way that they played so far, not at all surprised to see them punting the ball away, particularly other than a couple of plays, your defense has played pretty well.
Pass was intended for Trey Bull, who got to start at tight end today. With Cameron Height not available. Concussion protocol. Gavin Ellis is also out. So thin at tight end after the punt by Mora. Outstanding field position for the Monarchs when we return.
ESPN College Football, presented by Sling TV, is brought to you by the Lexus ES, a direct reflection of you.
Well, this was yesterday. The head coach of the sailing team here at Old Dominion, Mitch Brindley, kind enough to allow me to have some fun with his sailors. We're out on the water right off of the shore of campus. It's where the Elizabeth River and the Lafayette Rivers meet. And I did some sailing, learned a couple things about the sport, some hiking and some tacking. Don't ask me to differentiate between the two because I'm not sure I can, but it was still a lot of fun. One of the sailors, Ryder Odom, here on the right, is showing me the ropes. So we had a lot of fun, guys. And if you don't know, Old Dominion has a history of being really, really good at sailing. They've won 17 national titles
17.
here.
Wow.
So no better people to learn the sport from than those guys right there.
How about the seasickness? Was that an issue at any point yesterday?
Yes, and I asked about the wind. It was about 12 to 15 miles per hour, which apparently is perfect for sailing, but it was not perfect for my stomach.
7-0 our score. Monarchs leading Wake Forest. They get the football back after the 26-yard punt. And Roche into plus territory, a 13-yard gain, and here comes the tempo. Here are the national championships. Play action for Wilson. And incomplete. Pressure coming from Gaines. You win 17 titles. It's worthy of a graphic like this, Roddy.
Oh, it absolutely is. I'm just glad I now know that hiking doesn't only happen in the mountains, and tacking is something that that doesn't just have to do with your clothes. My clothes are often described as tacky, so.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't land the plane very well, but it's all right.
You got it done.
But congratulations to this sailing team. I had no idea until we got up here and saw T-Mac fresh off the boat, coming into the hotel, having hiked and tacked and gotten a little seasick.
ODU trying to make Wake Forest seasick on the road. And another first down coming. The first grab, Raymello Murphy. Explosive last week with 2 touchdowns, and that time he toasted Kalen Carson. Roddy, that's not easy to do.
No, it's not. And Kalen Carson just not on balance when he comes up to make that play. And Raymello Murphy makes him pay.
Wilson again finding his rhythm, and another pass caught. Isaiah Page fell down inside the 25, a 12-yard gain that'll move the chains. And here comes ODU again.
Now they've got some momentum, some tempo. Grant Wilson started 0 for 3, but he's been excellent last 2 drives.
And you can feel his rhythm coming suddenly. Quick toss. And Williams, a 6-yard gain.
I like that they're taking those easy access throws with the corners playing off.
Wilson again. The same play, different result, the pass high. Quickly it's 3rd down to Sean Jones. Kelby Williams, the intended receiver.
He kind of sat on that route there. And with Old Dominion now at 3rd and 4, Wake Forest with a shift change on the offensive lines. You see the yards per play. Look at that differential. I would not be surprised if you get a run play here from Old Dominion with the favorable numbers in the box.
4-down territory, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so.
Wilson 6 of 12. He'll throw it again. Didn't turn around fast enough, and it's going to be intercepted. Evan Slocum the other way. And Slocum ripped down from behind in plus territory at the 28. Well, the tackle by Granger preventing the touchdown. He raced the other way for 56 yards, and how big was that?
Well, it's the timing's just off on this 3rd down play. You get Amari, and Granger doesn't see the football. The ball's on his back shoulder anyway, so it's tipped into the hands of Evan Slocum. And Evan Slocum does exactly what you're supposed to do. First off, it's great hustle by Grant Wilson to have him cut back. You're always supposed to cut back on the quarterback, but the good hustle by Amari and Granger saves a touchdown there. But what a turn of events. ODU had all the momentum there.
On the verge of going up 2 scores, driving for perhaps a touchdown, and Evan Slocum, the junior, Cartersville High School down in Georgia. First pick of the season. And let's see if that sparks Mitch Griffiths and this Wake Forest offense. Banks inside the 20. Wake Forest in the red zone for the first time. That should be enough for a 1st down. And Jamal Banks made something happen there.
Wake Forest goes to one of their tried and true concepts. Just get a little stop route, kind of over the tackle by the receiver. A little flare route by the running back. You stretch that flat defender. Easy pitch and catch.
Terry Jones, the injured Monarch, junior out of Baltimore, and the starting safety, slow to get up. 1st and 10 for the Deacs after this injury timeout.
Kevin and Sam in studio. BC out to a 10-3 lead when Jordan Travis gets hot.
He finds Jaheim Bell. That's one of a stable of weapons on the outside for Jordan Travis with a huge touchdown.
BC led this game after the 1st quarter, but it's now 10-10 on ABC. Roy?
KC, thank you. Deacs have it 1st and 10, driving for the first time. That pass incomplete. Jordan Travis 5 of 7 in Chestnut Hill for the red bandana game. That's one to watch given what's on the horizon next week for FSU. Road trip down to Clemson.
Florida State has looked unflappable early in this season. Tying that game up. I got to feel like tying that game up. Florida State's just going to take off from here.
See if the Deacs can do the same thing, representing the ACC. End zone. Pass will be caught. It'll be 1st down and goal. Wesley Grimes had to jump up to gain 15, and that'll work for the Deacs.
Finally, Mitch Griffiths has time to throw the football. Good route by Grimes. Good snag. Deacs inside the 5.
7th catch of the season for Wesley Grimes, a sophomore from Raleigh.
This Wake Forest team has not been great scoring touchdowns in the red zone this year.
Claiborne, the sophomore, has 1 score so far this season. Griffiths will buy a little bit of time. Falling down, lost the football. Play is still live. And recovered by the Monarchs. Lamarian James will take it the other way for the ODU touchdown. Oh my goodness. Ronnie, let's make sure this is a fumble. as Griffiths went down and lost it.
Yeah, it's clearly a fumble. The ball comes out before that hand starts to go forward. It is a fumble all the way. What a turn of events. Almost a pick six. Almost a pick six for ODU on the other side. Wake Forest finally gets inside the 5. They opt to throw the football. Mitch Griffiths tries to create, but the ball knocked out as he goes to throw it away. And then the carom. I mean, it bounces around, ends up in the hands of Old Dominion, and wow, what a turn of events.
Now Wake Forest facing significant adversity on the road. And this ODU crowd comes to life with James and the scoop and score. Now, nothing about that sequence suggested the arm was going forward. He had possession, and that was an incomplete pass.
No, it's a fumble all the way.
And the confirmation of that fact coming in this extra point attempt. Now, momentum has switched hands a couple of times in the last 2 possessions. What a statement being made by ODU trying to protect its home turf in Norfolk. 14-0.
And you could see the shot of Dave Clawson talking to Mitch Griffiths. At this point, when he's still in the pocket, that's when you just throw the ball out of the back of the end zone. It's first down, just live to fight another day. Instead tries to scramble with traffic around, then tries to throw the ball. And what a scoop and score by Lamarian James. But right now, throw the ball away. Throw it away. Live to fight another day. Gets in trouble as he gets out of the pocket. And it ends up costing his team.
Well, homegrown here in Norfolk. When you look at the first 2 touchdowns scored today by the Monarchs, Harvey went to Lake Taylor High School. James went to Indian River. And doing it in front of the home crowd means a little bit more here at Ballard Stadium. What did we say earlier? The ingredients of the upset. Power 5 on the road at the group of 5. 2 programs not separated by a great distance. 2 staffs that are quite familiar with each other. And a team that just a year ago defeated another team from the ACC on this very field in Virginia Tech. That kickoff sails out of bounds. And the penalty coming against the Monarchs. All those boxes, Roddy, at this point have been checked, and a 2-touchdown lead as well.
And an Old Dominion team that found something last week. We'll see what Louisiana ends up being, but they really felt like they had opportunities in that first game against Virginia Tech. And with a new quarterback, a new system, just felt like they would grow a little bit. So yeah, Roy, you're right. And to be honest, it's why a lot of Power 5 teams don't do this, because now you got this stadium kind of fired up. See, the defense has been all over it today.
No sacks, no turnovers forced before this game. Already 2 in both categories. And the pressure now on the Wake Forest offense. Griffiths try to settle things down and slow things down. Pass will be grabbed by Morin near the 40. We'll check in with T-Mac.
There is a sense of shock down here on the Wake Forest sideline, but the guy who has not lost any confidence is Mitch Griffiths. He went up to everyone on the offensive side and said, "That's on me, that's on me." He said, "But we still got this. Let's start believing we've got this."
Yeah, we think about what he told us this week, playing free. I said, what does that mean in your mind as a starting quarterback and in the ACC? And he said, we do all the mental reps ahead of time. I'm studying film all week long. We know what to expect. So there's not a ton of thinking that's involved. You're just able to cut it loose. That's a 10-yard gain there to move the chains. Playing free really hasn't been the case so far today. He'll try to change it here. Near midfield. Floats it deep in the red zone and incomplete. Looking for Grimes. And he was twisting and turning out of bounds, blanketed by Reason.
And that first down of the drive, you could see the arm slot dropping for Mitch Griffiths. That's something that he can do. He can throw from different arm angles, and that's part of the playing free. Can you sort of harness being careless with taking chances?
He'll keep it here. Bounce it inside, and close to another first down for the Deacs. A late marker comes in. Taj Rael going to be credited with that tackle. It is enough for a first down. Let's see if there's going to be something tacked on to the end of this.
Let's see what this call is. So we...
Holding, defense number 10. 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
Deeks on the move again, Jalen Satchel.
The foul is on number 17, 1-7.
Was the original guilty party. Instead, it's Nolan Johnson playing back there in the ODU secondary. Roddy, you like the response so far for Griffiths on this drive, kind of improvising.
Yeah, I mean, he's had to do it with his legs. And sometimes Old Dominion generally has done a good job keeping him in the pocket, so he hasn't been able to do that.
Ellison, the running back, serves as pass pro. The comeback route is there to Jamal Banks. Another first down for Wake. Gain of 13 more. Let's check a penalty flag back near the 38.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense number 72. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's Eric Russell.
What's the old adage? One step forward, two steps back. Another right tackle, Eric Russell. Hands get a little too high as the pass rush comes. It's like you when we ask you to get on the dance floor. You take one step forward, two steps back away from it.
I disagree. I can dance, and I will dance. By the way, the Deeks without the services of Nick Sharp at right guard. You wonder if that's been a bit of an issue, moving different players along the offensive line. Griffiths hit again as he tried to throw, and it falls incomplete. Devin Brant Epps applying the pressure, and that's about the fourth time in the first half that's happened.
Roy, that's a three-man rush that just absolutely constricts the room for Mitch Griffiths to throw the ball. They've only got three guys coming after the quarterback. What a great rush from that right side by Devin Brant Epps.
Blake Seiler calling a beautiful game plan so far for the ODU defense. Told us this week we've got a long ways to go. We're making some moves today. Morin straight ahead on the tunnel screen. Chopped down to the 35, an 8-yard gain. It was E.J. Green, and now what does Dave Clawson do?
I think you're trying to get in the field goal range, to be honest. If you can get close enough to attempt a field goal, maybe you get something good out of it. The thing I would be afraid of is the pressure on Mitch Griffiths. They tried the screen there to catch ODU in a pressure. It looks like it's going to be man-to-man coverage with safety help over the top.
Banks top of the screen. Griffiths goes the other way, looking for Grimes inside the 5. He corrals it. Was he in bounds? The early indication is yes. It'll be first down and goal for the Deeks. Gain of 33 yards. How did he bring that one in?
Well, you just throw it up to Wesley Grimes. It's a fantastic catch. The strong hands and the ability to bring it into his body. Although I don't know if that ball is secured in bounds. It looked like it was still moving when he hit out of bounds. So is this a catch? When does he have that ball secured? Does he have firm control in bounds? Or does that occur when he comes down out of bounds? That ball's still moving. I don't know, Roy. I don't know that this is a catch.
Rashid Reason told us it was not. Upon first glance, I think there's a lot there to think about overturning that call, Roddy.
So you're going to have firm control in bounds is going to be the key thing here. That ball is sliding. The question is, when does firm control happen? I think it happens on that second slide of the ball. And then when he comes down, even when he hits the ground, that thing's still moving around, Roy. I don't think this is a catch.
For a moment, it felt like he may have had it pinned against his waist. My question for you would be, is this indisputable video evidence? Is it enough to overturn the call on the field?
It's a great question. I think it is. I think it is enough to overturn the call on the field. That ball is sliding until the last minute. He comes down out of bounds. If that happens inbounds, clearly a catch. But because he never has firm control of the football inbounds with a foot down, I don't think that firm control happens until he's laying on the white. So I would guess this is going to come back and be fourth down for the Deacons.
Bob Sokolowski is our replay official. Secured it initially. Ball moved a little. He comes down. Did he ever reestablish that full control while maintaining a body part inbounds?
And then you have where the knee comes down too. Like the knee initially hits, and it looks like it may be on the line, may not be on the line, but again, when that firm control happens, when he establishes that firm control, I think he's out of bounds. It's a massive effort by Wesley Grimes. Seems like Dave Clawson's gotten an answer.
We will as well. What was a 31-yard completion on 3rd down and 17.
They're moving the ball back.
After further review, it is an incomplete pass.
Has anything gone Wake's way during the coin toss? They won the coin toss. Since then, feels like everything's gone Old Dominion's way.
Heck of an effort by Grimes. You applaud that, but the Deacs fall short. And the punt team currently on the field for head coach Dave Clawson. Ivan Mora's last punt traveled just 26 yards. ODU with all the momentum in the world. And Wake Forest and Mora punting for the 5th time of this first half. And the wobbler over the head of Isaiah Page. It'll check up, and the members bounce. It'll be ODU football inside its own 10-yard line with a 2-touchdown lead when we come back. Well, this Old Dominion defense has been legit so far today, forcing 2 turnovers, a couple of sacks, and just handling their business for the first time this year.
And it's really been the defensive front. Even that first interception was caused by pressure. Obviously, the fumble later on caused by penetration in the run game. Wake hasn't been able to get that going. And then this one was a strip sack. They returned for a touchdown. That's Old Dominion D. Has been fantastic so far today.
Keyshawn Wicks will pick up 2 yards here. 2-touchdown advantage. Ronnie Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor here in Norfolk, Virginia. Beautiful day for college football. Week 3, you feel like this is the weekend where something wacky is going to happen around the country. Maybe starting here. Another long completion. Harvey reels it in on the Wake Forest side of the football field, and here comes more tempo for the Monarchs.
Beautiful throw by Grant Wilson. Put it up, let his receiver go get it. Maybe a little bit of a push-off, but Javon Harvey comes down with it.
Gain of 41. Now you give offensive coordinator Kevin Decker a ton of credit in revamping this offense for ODU this year. Mentioned how he arrived from Fordham along with Grant Wilson, his starting quarterback. You go back and look at the numbers Fordham football put up a year ago, playing in the FCS ranks. It's beyond PlayStation. Over 600 yards of total offense, 50 points per game. Wilson's going to keep it. Little stutter step, if that's what you want to call it. It's enough for a first down. Stopped at the 36.
Well, I said it earlier, Roy. They're going to have to do this a couple of times to make Wake respect it. You had Nick Anderson coming on a blitz. He was the read guy, took the running back, and it was a wide open lane for Grant Wilson. And I guess I'd call that a stutter step. We'll give it to Grant Wilson.
We're trying to help number 13 there with the call.
You know, the power steering, not the quarterback's forte. So you slam the brakes on and then you turn.
Well, he won the 3-man battle at the quarterback position going back to the spring. On the screen, Jordan Bly. Gain of 1, that's it. Stopped by A.J. Williams quickly.
Grant Wilson's story is a fantastic one, Roy. He sat at Fordham behind Tim DeMorat, who put up, as you said, PlayStation numbers last year, and left basically a sure thing. He was going to be the starter this year at Fordham. To get into that quarterback competition at Old Dominion, moving up a level, ends up winning it. And he's shown a couple of times today why.
Kevin Decker said he's got a great sense of humor. I want him to show that more. And we said, what kind of humor is it? He said, well, he's sarcastic. There's a dryness to it that sometimes goes over guys' heads. but they appreciate it there, the football facility. Wicks, and now holes are starting to open up with Grant Wilson, the passing game on the ground with Wicks.
Boy, are they. You hit Wake Forest a couple of times deep, and they keep safeties back to help the corners, lightens the box, and just run the football. And it's the threat of tempo that Wake is dealing with now. They get up to the line fast. It makes Wake Forest check their defense. Then Old Dominion checks to the check.
Try to check to the screen. Instead, he'll be checked for a sack. And a loss of a couple, Jasheen Davis. It'll be second down. Big possession here for both sides. If you're Wake Forest, last thing you want is to go down by 3 touchdowns right before halftime.
Yeah. And if you're Old Dominion, I think Old Dominion is cognizant of the clock here. You're under 4 minutes. While you're not necessarily trying to drain it, you don't want to give Wake a lot of opportunities in this half. You can punch the ball in and only give Wake 1 possession. More, that obviously plays in the hands of the Monarchs.
Fake it to Wicks. Wilson wants it all. Wilson in zone and incomplete. Harvey was spun around. He tripped up and fell backwards with Deshaun Jones in coverage.
Crowd doesn't like it. I think it's a good no call. You had Javon Harvey kind of falling back anyway. Deshaun Jones certainly didn't help him back up as he was stumbling backwards, but it was another double move. You can see Harvey's kind of trying to turn, stumbling back. He's not going to catch that ball. I actually think it's a pretty good no call. When you slam on the brakes as you're trying to turn, the guy runs into you. He's got the right to a path to the football as well.
Harvey has outgained Wake Forest by himself today by 66 yards. And a timeout on the field.
Takes their fourth charge time out of the half.
The first timeout of the half called by the Monarchs. They have 2 remaining with 3:22 to go. And we'll send you back to the studio. Kevin Connors, what do you got?
All right, Roy, coming up on the AT&T 5G halftime report, special day in Chestnut Hill and a special start for Boston College. We'll check in on that, plus 4 AP top 15 teams in action. And Sam Acho on the keys for Colorado to victory tonight. Coming up when you join us at the half. Roy, why poke the bear?
We appreciate that, KC. And we were fortunate enough to be at the Rocky Mountain Showdown 4 years ago. The last one played in Denver between those 2 teams. You'll see them tonight in Boulder. A little bit of a different vibe surrounding Colorado football with Coach Prime off to a 2-0 start in a top 20 ranking for that game this evening. And Jay Norvell with something to say as well.
Yeah, Jay Norvell poking the Colorado Bear. How about everybody on Colorado's teams getting shades? Everybody at ESPN, I feel like, got shades from Deion Sanders. At least everybody out there in Boulder.
We didn't get shades.
No, we're not in Boulder. Although they may be in the mail. I don't know.
It would be nice. Third down. Big play for both sides. Wilson with a pump fake. Wilson brought down, and that's a tremendous sack by Wayman. Kendron Wayman, a loss of 6. That could push ODU out of field goal territory with 4th down upcoming. And what do you do here if you're Ricky Ronnie?
I think you've got to attempt the field goal. Kendron Wayman, who's usually out there at defensive end, reduces down, gets on a guard, and then plays the role of spy. Interesting, Ricky Ronnie has left his offense on the field. Can't imagine you're going for it on 4th and 18. We're just trying to draw Wake off sides, drain the clock down, either take a delay of game or timeout.
Ethan Sanchez, his career-long field goal of 47. Where they are right now, be just over that.
ODU.
Now 49 yards, and now a timeout.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Ricky Ronnie will talk things over. We'll remind you, kick off your Week 2 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. The Countdown crew over on ESPN, also on the ESPN app, have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and previews of every single game right up until kickoff. And don't forget, on Monday, not 1 but 2 Monday Night Football matchups. Derek Carr and the Saints against the #1 overall pick Bryce Young and the Panthers. That's a special start time of 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Then the Browns and the Steelers. Nick Chubb, T.J. Watt, a couple of rivals getting after each other at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC and ESPN+. Now, the Steelers have won 20 in a row on Monday Night Football. That is the longest streak all time. And that'll be put to the test after a difficult Week 1 against San Francisco this past weekend. Now, Ricky Ronnie deciding to change his mind. A 49-yard field goal attempt on the way. And it is good. So a new career long for Ethan Sanchez. Roddy, you wanted it. Coach Ronnie gave you what you were asking for, the field goal attempt. And it's true to make it a 3-score game.
Not necessarily the way he would have drawn it up after taking the sack to make this even longer, but it's a great kick by Ethan Sanchez. You know, they were playing the Ricky Ronnie coaches show in the press box before we put our headsets on. He said Ethan Sanchez could get up to 60, and on that one it looked like plenty of leg, the accuracy that we didn't see earlier. And Old Dominion, a 17-0 lead, Roy. Wow.
Missed the 34-yarder wide right, connects from 49 for a new career long by 2 yards. Ricky Ronnie, quite frankly, coach, getting the job done starting this season. Players like to make fun of him because he utilizes that phrase too often. Don't forget, all season long, student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más Student Section of the Year. Make sure you download the Taco Bell app to learn more. They've been rowdy here. It's a late arriving crowd, Roddy, but they've been in it, especially when your team is pitching a 17-0 shutout against a team from the ACC. There's a reason to feel good. And when you think of Ricky Ronnie, you think of Ricky Bobby, and I don't know if there's a relation there, but I think that ODU fan's pretty happy.
I just want to go fast. He wasn't the first one in the stadium stand, so he was definitely last. But
if you're not first, you are last, right?
He's shaking and baking now.
Indeed. Griffiths gets it to Banks, across the 30. And a gain of 8 yards on first down. If you're Wake Forest, obviously you're looking for something on offense before halftime.
It's a really important drive. You get the ball first in the second half, so you have an opportunity to get 2 possessions almost back to back. So huge drive here.
Griffiths, first down. Well, shoulder pads were touched for a moment. Be the first grab for Keyshawn Williams. 8-yard pickup.
Great job moving in the pocket by Mitch Griffiths to get away from that pressure. Clock under 2 minutes, so it stopped on the first down and then would start again when the chains reset on the referee's whistle. Now a bit of confusion. This conference amongst the officials gave Old Dominion a chance to get Amari Morrison back on the field. He had not been on the field.
Previous play is under further review.
1:54 to go. The replay booth deciding to chime in here.
Huh.
It's a simple pitch and catch to Keyshawn Williams for 8 yards and a first down on 2nd and short.
Typically we get these late reviews. Catch, no catch. Is it a fumble? Maybe targeting?
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 2nd down. Correction. First down.
It sounds like the replay booth made a simple mistake, and away we go.
They hit the buzzer accidentally?
I mean, I've hit the wrong button before in the booth. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Try to hit talk back and you hit cough.
Yeah, I wonder why no one in the truck is responding to me. Oh, it's the cough button.
You hit the wrong button, Roddy.
I was trying to call for pizza at halftime and accidentally called the referee downstairs.
Pizza sounds delightful.
Yes, it does. Can I get a pepperoni? Oh, sorry, this is your referee on the field. What's going on?
It happens. 1st and 10 for Mitch Griffis and Wake Forest. Pocket is clean this time. Now Griffis will take off. He'll become a ball carrier, spun down in midfield, and he came down hard, close to another first down.
Griffis was patient enough that time for a running lane to open up. Don't love your quarterback taking hits like that, especially on the spin. No targeting because the ball, the contact came with the face mask of the helmet. Yes, it was to the face mask of the quarterback, but because he's a runner in that situation, he's not afforded the protection of a defenseless player.
Illegal snap. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Luke Pettibone, the grandson of the famous Richie Pettibone, former DC and NFL safety. 1st and 15 for Griffis, who's bouncing in the pocket for a while. The throw came in late to Williams, and it's incomplete with Terry Jones over the top.
Terry Jones had a great break on this. They're actually kind of fortunate he wasn't able to get around Keyshawn Williams, or it would have been another interception.
Tell me, from your perspective, why Griffis looks so uncomfortable in this first half.
It's just been disjointed. There's no rhythm. There's been great coverage on the back end, and then when the coverage hasn't been great, there's been pressure in his face.
2nd and 15, more pressure up the middle. Griffis unloads, nearly intercepted again. Dangerous pass. Colbreth. It was Jaleel Colbreth applying the pressure.
Taj Rael let a massive opportunity bounce off his hands. But once again, it's both of the things that you just asked about, Roy. It's great pressure and then great coverage, which ends almost in a great defensive play. You're getting man coverage underneath, cover 2 on the back end to take away the deep throws.
3rd and 15, Griffis, seam, incomplete. Taj Rael again working on Keyshawn Williams. It'll be 4th down for the Deacs.
I'm not going to say that's why he plays defense. I'm not going to say that's why he plays defense. You drop back-to-back interceptions, Roy. That's why you play defense. But nonetheless, he gets Wake Forest that offense off the field. He's actually in a trail position, so if the throw is in front of the receiver, then you probably get a completion there. It's a good route by Williams, but Taj Rael, 2 chances at the apple.
Griffis, 11 of 23 in this first half for 110 yards and an interception. And ODU, the timeout to work with in just over 60 seconds, has a chance to get a little greedy. Don't forget about the 2 ESPN primetime games tonight. Number 11 Tennessee down to the Swamp to take on Florida. That's at 7 Eastern. Then Coach Prime, number 18 Colorado, square off against Colorado State in the Rocky Mountain Showdown. What a night for college football. Can the Buffs make it 3-0 and continue to ascend in the AP Top 25?
I think so. It gets real for them next week when they get into conference play. And to be honest, look, this has been a Colorado team where there's been some signs of some flaws in how they're built, but no one's been able to take advantage of it. Nebraska turned the ball over a ton. TCU couldn't tackle. See if Jay Norvell can back up some of the smack he was talking.
Oh, Shedeur Sanders leads the planet in passing yards. Conservative call on first down. Roche stopped. It's a gain of 2. Monarchs do have the 1 timeout. Under a minute to go.
I wonder if Wake having timeouts plays into the play call there of Old Dominion.
Wilson pressure, double team, down he goes to the 30. Sack for a loss of 7. Jashin Davis. You know, this score is certainly surprising. ODU has feasted on Power 5 teams on this field in the past.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Going back to last year, the season opener against Virginia Tech. Deacs will call a timeout here.
And I actually think taking the sack in that situation was a good play by Garrett Wilson. Instead of throwing the ball away, if you throw the ball away, clock stops. Wake doesn't have to burn that timeout. You take the sack, Wake burns the timeout. Yardage is almost, it's not unimportant, But the time is the bigger thing, is the most valuable thing here.
It is. And for Ricky Rahne, when you think about, they had lost 6 straight games before last week's win against Louisiana. And he talked this week about not only playing a Power 5 team at home again, but playing a Power 5 team on an ESPN network, different than a conference channel. Playing on ESPN2, he said, we got a chance to really make a statement. I would say they've done that and then some in the first 2 quarters.
Absolutely.
On 3rd down, Roche will probe the left side to the edge. And another first down. Tripped up crossing the 45. A 17-yard gain on 3rd and 15.
Unbelievable. Now you crank up the tempo if you're Old Dominion. You got a chance still with the timeout to get points.
Well, Roche gives you a little burst that Wick certainly has, but Roche perhaps has a little bit more of. And heaved incomplete to Kelby Williams. It's breaking open in plus territory. 19 seconds to go.
Going back to that 3rd down, that can't happen if you're Wake Forest. Just Old Dominion's just trying to draw another timeout. Run the football, conservative call. They seal the edge. As you said, Roche, the freshman, gets around the corner and shows some wheels there.
He played quarterback in high school, but now as a running back. Won a couple of state championships in his prep career. Good speed. It almost appears as if Wake Forest is lining up off sides. And the give to Roche stopped at midfield.
I am pretty shocked that Jasheen Davis didn't get called for offsides there. It looked like he lined up with his head in the neutral zone, which would have given Old Dominion a free play. Although it was right in front of the Old Dominion coaches. They were kind of right down the line there. Not a lot of complaints, I don't think. So maybe it was just sort of the angle that we're at.
Now the halftime report coming up. We've got games across the country, and it has one of those feelings. Be a sneaky weekend in terms of upsets. And yeah, I mean, that's what both you and I referenced.
And we've got about the same angle as our camera. It is at a slight angle there, but that's really close. I'm gonna chalk it up to the angle is what played tricks with our mind.
Those tricky camera angles can get the best of all of us.
I am standing basically right next to our high game camera here, like feet away. It looked like it was offside. It wasn't that much of an angle.
3rd and 7. The Minnesota-North Carolina game coming up 3:30 on ESPN. Big Ten ACC. Big game for the Tar Heels. They were nearly upset in double OT last week against Appalachian State.
Wake Forest takes their 2nd charge timeout of the half.
Everybody's being careful on this final possession.
I think you kind of have to. You would imagine if you're Old Dominion, you just made a 49-yard field goal. So you're looking, you know, the maximum you're probably going 55-ish, which means you probably need, I don't know, 12 or so yards to get to a 55-yard field goal.
Well, you had the Hail Mary completed last night between UTSA and Army right before halftime. That was Marburger that slung it deep to Ogle Kellogg. You'd love to get maybe one play into the end zone here if you can.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going Hail Mary. Your quarterback is throwing one interception. It's the old Mike Shanahan thing. I don't want a cheap interception on my quarterback at the end of the half, especially when you're up 17-0. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Old Dominion opts for. They don't have a timeout, so you got to get out of bounds here.
Great point by you, by the way. A couple of center fielders drop back for Wake Forest. Slant route is there inside the 30. And with 5 seconds to go, a first down. It'll stop the clock. Isaiah Page picks up 22. Monarchs got to go. They'll spike it, and a chance to tack on 3 more right before halftime.
I stand corrected. You do not have to get out of bounds. Great operation by Old Dominion. You get the first down, clock stops, you're able to get up to the line, spike it, kick the field goal. It's a tremendous operation, and it gives a very manageable field goal for Ethan Sanchez. Easy toss over the middle. Wake Forest playing deep because of the threat of the Hail Mary. Really nice job by Old Dominion of executing in that situation.
Well, Sanchez just drilled one from 49. This attempt from 45 just inside that left hash. And Sanchez, no good. Wide left right before halftime. No matter for the Monarchs, an impressive 2 quarters in the books. 17-0, halfway home to an upset. Monarchs with a lead over Wake Forest. We'll send you now to the studio. Kevin Connors and Sam Acho, the ODU defense, has been the story, guys. And welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Sling TV. Here at SB Ballard Stadium, Norfolk, Virginia, and the ACC in trouble on the road against ODU. Mitch Griffis and Wake Forest will get the football to start our 3rd quarter, trailing 17-0. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor on the sidelines. Roddy, just about everything that could go wrong for Wake in the first 2 quarters did.
Particularly offensively, they average 455 yards per game on offense, 127 in that first half.
And the touchback, as moments ago, T-Mac caught up with Dave Clawson.
Thank you, Roy. Coach, what went wrong in the first half?
I mean, just about everything. I mean, on defense, we're not playing too bad. We really gave up the 1 touchdown and a couple of plays. But other than that, we've been hanging in there. Just offensively, you know, give them credit, but we're beating ourselves. The red zone turnover, a lot of penalties that have gotten us off schedule, and we're not playing well. We've got to execute better, and you know, I mean, they've outplayed us, and we'll find out what we're made of in the second half.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Roy?
T-Mac, great job. Griffis back on the field, slow mesh concept. Justice Ellison spins ahead to the 35 and a good gain on first down. You take a look at what Wake Forest has done in their first 2 games offensively compared to what has transpired so far today. And after picking up a first down, a good start in the second half, but not a good start overall.
It's just been so disjointed. 17 yards rushing before that run without knowing exactly. I think that was their best run of the day. At least it feels like it.
Ellison weaves his way across the 40, stopped at the 41. You think about it, Mitch Griffis, a Virginia native from Ashburn. Justice Ellison, also from Ashburn, VA. The return trip to the Commonwealth has not been kind so far. Try to change that in our second half. And Griffis will dump it off to Ellison. Ushered out of the 45, T-Mac.
Great job of penetrating the offensive line and covering Mitch Griffis' first reads, and that seems to continue here in the second half. He said offensively we have to get the run game going. ODU had just 56 yards on the ground in the first half, and he said not only is it important for us to get going, we will get going.
Ellison gets going here in the plus territory, close to another first down.
I like Wake coming out and running the football because of exactly what T-Mac just said. Old Dominion has done a great job of getting Mitch Griffis off of his first reads, throwing the football. And so it's forced them to hold on to the ball a long time. Even on the check down to Ellison a second ago, he held the ball a long time, and it's allowed that pressure to get to him.
E.J. Green injured, had a first half interception. First turnover of the year forced by the Monarchs. Injury timeout as we step aside. Deeks on the move to start our third quarter. It has not been a good day offensively so far. Trailing ODU 17-0. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor. Wake Forest, the ODU 48-yard line, trying to get cranked up.
Old Dominion looks like they're going to show a blitz. Man, one-on-one coverage. Jamal Banks at the bottom of the screen.
6 in the box. Here comes the pressure, handled by the Wake Forest offensive line. The comeback to Williams should be enough to move the chains.
It's a really nice job by Mitch Griffis because he's looking at Jamal Banks, but they kept the safety to that side. They played cover 2 over Jamal Banks. Straight man to the field. Comes back to Keyshawn Williams. And the offensive line gave him a lot of time to be able to get back to his secondary receiver.
Now, watching Wake Forest, their first 2 games of the season, wins against Elon and Vanderbilt, they have slowed that tempo down ever so slightly this year. Punishing finish by Ellison, stopped at the 31. But from a perspective standpoint, when you look at conferences and leagues and you talk about the perception of what's happening in college football, this is not a great look for the ACC. 10 games on the road at the Group of 5, 3 losses going back to 2020, and maybe a 4th today, given what we've seen so far. Credit to ODU, but your league's on the road a lot at the Group of 5. It's not a great feel if you're a fan of a team in the ACC.
No, and look, the powerhouses in the ACC aren't going on the road to Group of 5 teams, so it ends up being the middle to lower part of the conference. And sometimes you take those losses when you're on the road at a good team, regardless of what conference they come from.
Now, a second injury on this drive. Jalil Taylor, the senior from Pinehurst, Georgia. Give us a moment to take a look at the All-State college football rankings. And a look at who's where. Texas making the big move up. They'll get Wyoming tonight on Longhorn Network. What else strikes you here?
Well, that Penn State-Illinois game, closer than people probably think. Alabama switching their quarterback, going with Tyler Buckner. Georgia, South Carolina. Did you see the line on that game?
It's like 4 touchdowns.
It's massive. I can't imagine that. Like, I can't imagine South Carolina getting blown out quite like that, especially with what Georgia has shown offensively so far this year.
There's ingredients with Spencer Rattler and what they want to do on offense in the passing game, I think, to keep that game competitive.
They got dominated on the offensive and defensive lines by North Carolina. Georgia should be able to take advantage of that.
Off the injury timeout, Griffith slings one to the end zone. Morin's wide open, and there it is for the touchdown. Wake Forest on the board on its first drive of the second half. That touchdown strike from 27 yards out. And finally, Dave Clawson has something to feel good about after the first 2 quarters where he told T-Mac moments ago everything went wrong.
And he also told her, we're going to see what we're made of. And, of course, we already knew what this Wake Forest team was made of. They're going to fight to the very end. It looked like Taj Rael fell down. Got tripped up. Taylor Morin in the end zone. Wake Forest establishing the run early on and then doing a great job of protecting Mitch Griffis on that drive.
A little Justice Ellison, who is back and healthy. More of Taylor Morin. First touchdown of the season from the junior, who's also from Virginia, and Wake Forest finally on the board.
Well, you got Mitch Griffis, who has a lot of time. Taj Rael falls down. An easy touchdown for Taylor Morin to get Wake Forest on the board.
Brand new ball game back in Ballard Stadium, 17-7, ODU leading Wake Forest. And for 10 years, ESPN has supported the College Football Playoff Foundation, bringing the college football community together for Extra Yard for Teachers Week. Help celebrate and honor great teachers around the country. Since its inception, the CFP Foundation has recognized over 500,000 educators. For more information, follow @CFP Extra Yard. We would encourage you to do that. You see Mitch Griffis, who comes from a family of teachers. Dad was a football coach, still is a football coach. Mom, a teacher. His sister is as well, teaching 4th grade. His whole life has been influenced in such a positive way by educators. Short kick, fielded by James at the 20. He'll make a move. Then ushered out short of the 40. Good field position for ODU. And T-Mac, Mitch Griffis, boy, he comes from a family of teachers, right?
I'd run high school football game a year ago because, as you mentioned, his dad, Matt, a high school football coach, and so, of course, had to get together at the end of a game. He is, in addition to being a football coach, is a PE teacher, and then his mom, Robin, on the far left, is a history teacher. She's the head of the history department at Broad Run. You can see next to her is sister Libby, who is in her 2nd year as a 4th grade teacher. In the middle is their brother Brett, who is a quarterback at James Madison, and then next to him is Mitch, who is pursuing an education major right now at Wake Forest. And I think it says the most how much they respect their parents because they both want to get into teaching.
Yeah, no question. We asked Mitch about his relationship with his father, considering that he was his coach for 4 years in high school. And he said, you know, it was a little different when he was coaching me up, but it was always a situation of respect He coaches hard. He coached his son just as hard as everybody else. And now as a quarterback at Wake Forest, he said, it's not really talking me up in terms of X's and O's and skill sets on the field. It's more dad and son, which you appreciate after the fact.
Well, first off, thank you to all of our teachers and the work that you do, not only educating, but helping raise our youngsters. But what do you think Mitch Griffis' grades were like? With your dad's the head football coach, mom is the head of the history department, you get a bad grade, and not only are you running on the football field, but also you get it when you go home.
I don't think he had a lot of bad grades.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think that's the simple answer. Quickly, third down for ODU. Pressure, and down goes Wilson. So the Wake Forest defense will force a 3-and-out after the monster return. That's a loss of 6 on the sack by Jacob Roberts. And Wake Forest suddenly with all the momentum to start our second half, Roddy.
Jacob Roberts just absolutely blasted the running back on the way to the quarterback. I mean, this is a violent blitz by Jacob Roberts up the middle. Keyshawn Wicks does his best. He's got no momentum. Get out of my way. Get me to the quarterback. And a quick 3-and-out for ODU.
Ethan Dwayne back on the field. He'll punt it away to Morin. No fair catch. And a short return after a punt of 44. Featured games tonight on ESPN Plus. Oklahoma State hosting South Alabama. Texas Tech hosting Tarleton State. Auburn and Sanford at Jordan-Hare. All 3 games start 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. To get ESPN Plus, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. Give me a sense on the difference we've seen with Wake Forest to start this third quarter compared to the first 2.
Well, they ran the ball really well on that last drive where they had 75 yards after 127 the whole first half. They ran the ball really well. And then when they threw it, they gave Mitch Griffis time to go through his progression.
Griffis rips it away from Claiborne. Hit hard, and I mean pummeled, crossing the 25. Gain of 6 yards on first down. Terry Jones laying the lumber that time, Roddy.
They were blitzing Sean Asbury from the backside in the boundary, and Terry Jones ended up with a big hit. But I like them getting Mitch Griffis' legs involved. Get your quarterback a little more into the game after an up-and-down first half.
There goes Claiborne. He'll try to get to the edge. Finally does. It's enough for a first down. Boy, it felt like that could have been a lot more for a moment. Claiborne with that speed. The missed tackle by James and a gain of 9.
There's also the balance. He does a great job getting his pads down. He doesn't necessarily have to run super low when you're contacted out wide, but as long as you get your pads down, it gives defenders less to grab onto. But the balance through contact, the burst and the balance are the reasons why I think he has a chance to be special.
A pass that could have been picked off through the hands of Grimes. James was in the area again. Marion James already has a scoop and score. It's been that kind of day. This Wake Forest offense minus 1 drive.
And yet, with the quick 3-and-out from Old Dominion, the first drive that Wake had, if they're able to put the ball in the end zone here, you've got to feel like they think they're in a good position.
Morin in motion, a 3-wide receiver set on second down. Morin will get it. Just caught a touchdown moments ago. He'll get a first down here. Well, a 12-yard gain, and here come the Deeks.
Mitch Griffis seems much more settled than he was in the first half. Talked about it a number of times, but a lot of that has to do with the protection that the offensive line has done a really nice job with in the second half so far.
Only 1 incompletion. The snap gets away from him. It rolled backwards. And Griffis lucky to fall on top of the pigskin that time. Otherwise, that could have been another scoop and score for ODU.
Mitch Griffis tried to go down and get it and fell to his knees when that happened. I mean, it's a brutal snap. Damon Claiborne actually makes sure that Jason Henderson doesn't have a free run at that ball to scoop it and score.
Almost halfway through the third. 2nd and 21. Clean pocket for Griffis. Morin has it again, eludes 1 defender. Not the second nor the third. A gain of 11. It'll be 3rd down. Now Henderson and Goldbreath combine to make the stop.
And now the question for Blake Seiler on this Old Dominion defense, the defensive coordinator for Old Dominion, is do you pressure Mitch Griffis? A lot of people around the line of scrimmage. You've got 7 guys in the area that could pressure. They said all 7.
Plenty of heat. Griffis was hit hard. James picks it off. James. Can he do it again? A scoop and score. And a pick 6. Some guys go a career without what we've seen in one day from Lamarion James.
Old Dominion went conservative on 2nd down. They went aggressive on 3rd. Asbury with the pressure. Lamarion James with the interception, and when he got it, he knew exactly where he was going. Back to the end zone to put Old Dominion up by 17.
Just my 2 cents, maybe ain't worth much.
On that 3rd down play from Wake Forest, you've got 6 defenders on the line of scrimmage and 6 players for Wake Forest, the 5 offensive linemen and the running back to block them. Well, then you add a 7th. Sean Asbury, the safety, comes as well. You get a free hitter to the quarterback. Mitch Griffis throws a prayer up late, and Lamarion James ends up with another touchdown.
Keyshawn Williams from the goal line. Spun down at the 20. Kevin Connors, what do you have for us?
All right, Roy, AT&T 5G is keeping fans connected as we take a look at our multi-view. Florida State scored 2 touchdowns in a span of 68 seconds. They're up big now on BC over on ABC. Malik Neighbors already 188 receiving yards. LSU up on ESPN.
Thank you very much. Here in Norfolk, Virginia, one of the surprises in the early games in college football. ODU out of the Sun Belt leading Wake Forest from the ACC by 17. If you're Mitch Griffis, what's the mentality after what just happened?
You've got to flush it. Just continue to play offense. But with everything that he's seen so far, he's had 4 down. He's shown blitzes. They've dropped. It's been wild.
I told you before in the first half that Mitch Griffis, there was a sense of calmness and collectability. Guys, he's starting to panic. You can feel it down here on the sideline.
We'll dump it off here. There goes Grimes. Wesley Grimes into plus territory, and he runs out near the 40. So number 8 in white with a big play in the passing game. Give him 40 yards. The pressure from E.J. Green, who's back and healthy. No matter that time for the Deacs.
Yeah, but it cost Mitch Griffis. He stood in the pocket, delivered this ball, took another big hit, got up limping a little bit. As you said, E.J. Green back in the game. That big hit. Wesley Grimes with the big play, but quarterback showing a lot of toughness.
Ellison will bounce it outside with a stiff arm. Stays in bounds. Another first down for Wake Forest on the ground. Ellison healthy. A difference maker in this second half. Give him 16.
Rashid Reason got deposited into the dirt, almost mushed into the ground by Justice Ellison with the stiff arm.
What a great word to describe what just happened.
Yeah, you get mushed. It's not a great thing to have happen to you.
Ellison to the edge. Ellison, gain of 9, maybe 10 more. Taj Rael credited with the tackle. Wake Forest on the move again. Deacs have been their own worst enemy today. They've given up the pick 6 and the scoop and score to the same player, Lamarion James. Try to punch it in here.
Almost feels like we're right back to square one when this half started. They were down 17 then, down 17 now and driving.
2nd and 1, slow mesh. Ellison races ahead. Didn't need much. He didn't gain much. Should be enough for a first down, and it is.
I think to Old Dominion's credit, even though Wake's driving on this drive, they've done a great job of mixing things up. Dropping 8, sending 7, 0 blitzing with nobody in the middle of the field, 2-man, single high safety. They've shown Mitch Griffis just about everything.
High snap. Griffis pulls it out. Eludes the first defender in Henderson, but not overall. Loss of 5. And Roddy, it's probably about time that we start giving Blake Seiler, the defensive coordinator for ODU, some more credit with this game plan today.
A ton of credit. They've mixed up how they defend in the run game as well. This one, see Mitch Griffis pulling it on the backside. It's missed read by Mitch Griffis. It looks like he's reading the in-man on the line of scrimmage. That's E.J. Green. And then you've got the tackling machine, Jason Henderson, scraping over the top.
Second long, Griffis, end zone, high. Banks the intended receiver. Third down and 15 coming up, and that's exactly what Seiler told us this week. We've got to be able to create more high throws, and we've been close. He asked us the question, will this be the week that we break through?
And the answer has been yes. That last play was another 0 blitz, no safety. With 3rd and long, they've gone to this 2-man, man-to-man coverage underneath, 2 safeties deep. And then you've got pressure with the other 5 with a linebacker covering a running back.
Henderson drops back in coverage. He'll stand still. Griffis end zone. Nearly intercepted again. He avoids disaster, and Terry Jones would love to have that one back. Like a center fielder waiting for a fly ball, he just dropped it.
Well, he's got a cast on that right hand, so he's got to corral it to his body. You can't catch it with your hands there. It goes straight through, but look at that right hand of Terry Jones. He's got the cast on it, not able to bring it in. But you said that could have been another interception.
Field goal team on the field. Matthew Dennis, a 36-yarder. This would make it a 2-score affair once again. And on the way and true. Dennis, a redshirt sophomore from Charlotte, makes it 24-10, and Dave Clawson, his team bouncing back yet again on that drive.
Yeah, it was a good drive, but not able to punch the ball in the end zone. I'll tell you what, Old Dominion, we talked about how nice a job that they've done overall. That 2-man coverage where you've got those 2 safeties deep, man-to-man completely underneath. The way you beat it is by getting that stuff over the middle, and they've tried to go to it, but that underneath defender is sort of in a trail technique, which means the throw has to be perfect, or it can be picked off if it's too high by the safety or if it's behind by the defensive back underneath the nickel. And we've seen both of those today.
Now keep an eye on number 2 here. When he gets his hands on the football, big things have happened today. He's also an explosive returner. Lamarian James trying to put this program, this team, this city, if you will, on his back. Upset a team at home from the Power 5. Not many players have done what he's done in a single game. James sent down to the 26. Well, if you're just tuning in, it's been the Lamarian James show on defense in a variety of different ways.
It certainly has. This a fumble down near the goal line. It kicks out wide. Lamarian James says, "Thank you very much. Indeed, I do." Skates down the sideline into the end zone. And then the interception, he had a little bit more to do. A couple of cuts, had to read a couple blocks, but a prayer thrown up by Mitch Griffis. Good blocking by his teammates downfield. Outruns a couple offensive linemen. How about a couple touchdowns for Lamarian James? Have a day.
Hey, put him on offense, too. Why not?
Exactly.
Roche in at running back. Wilson wants to go long. And looking for Dutton, it's incomplete. There is a penalty flag down. This appears to be holding on ODU.
Holding. Offense number 65. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Chris Adams trying to hold back Jasheen Davis. He couldn't do it.
A lot of people can't do that. Davis is still able to get the pressure, too.
Ricky Ronnie. Big opportunity for this team on this day. Think about it from a Sun Belt perspective. JMU won at Virginia last week. ODU playing at home. Love to keep that momentum going for the conference this week. And out of bounds, looking for Granger. 2nd and 20.
The Sun Belt's a really good league, and I think what you've seen from them this year, the way this Old Dominion team is playing, what you saw from James Madison last week at the top.
By the way, ODU was picked last in its division in the Sun Belt, just saying.
That was probably based on last year, and because there's so many transfers, you didn't know what to do. But even what you saw from App State, like Sun Belt, you talk about non-Power 5 leagues, this is the best one out if you get out of the Power 5, the ball that they play in the Sun Belt.
Think about JMU, Marshall,
South Al, Troy.
Teams that really nobody wants to face.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 7. Foggill penalty. 2nd down.
Ricky Ronnie's offense had the quick 3 and out earlier. You got the scoop and score. It's only their 2nd possession of this 2nd half. So no rhythm offense. I've been in those games where you're just sitting on the sideline. You go quick 3 and out. Defense gets you a touchdown, but you're not on the field. It's just hard to get back in that rhythm.
That was more of the teams that played you guys at Georgia Tech back in the day.
Honestly.
Paul Johnson was a magician in those situations. Wide open and incomplete, and it should have been 6 to Isaiah Page. 5 steps behind the last defender. Wilson would love to have that toss back.
Just runs right past the safety. Malik Mustafa, another double move.
And I meant 15 steps, not 5.
Yeah, exactly. That's like one of those where as a quarterback you see, you just get excited, and he's so far out there, you just sling it as far as you can, but overcooked that ham, as my partner likes to say.
3rd and 25. And the handoff. Try to bounce it out as Roche. The 17, and that's it. Some late contact, no penalty marker. And the Wake Forest defense does its job, and as they've done in this 3rd quarter, Roddy, Mitch Griffis will get the football back, likely with decent field position.
And it's time for the offense to do its part. Dave Clawson told Taylor right after halftime, the defense has actually played okay. They've given up some big plays here and there, but defense has only given up 17 points. But, excuse me, defense has given up less than that. Only 10 points because you had the interception return for a touchdown and the scoop and score.
Brad Lambert was getting ready to send you a text after this game if that conversation continued.
Exactly.
Thought a pretty good game plan. Morin with a nifty move. Morin back in ODU territory. Upended inside the 30, and here come the Deacs. Punt of 47, a return of 34 for Taylor Morin.
And it got that Wake Forest sideline fired up because of the blocks that were thrown down the field. It's just a nice job of Taylor Morin making the first guy miss. You get a couple little screen blocks down the field. And every phase of this Wake Forest team is giving the offense an opportunity, keeping this team in it. It's now up to the offense to hold up their 3rd.
You taking a shot here after a big play like that?
I think so. I mean, you have nothing else to lose. You got to find Jamal Banks or Wesley Grimes down the field and see if you can get something.
Banks 5 catches, 59 yards. Slow mesh. And the handoff, Claiborne. There he goes. The speed on display in Damon Claiborne. Big performance last week. He rips off 20. It's 1st and goal.
Anticipating exactly what we just talked about. Blake Seiler, the defensive coordinator for Old Dominion, goes with a 3-safety look, light box. Only 5 guys there to defend the run. Hat on a hat from the offensive lineman, and the special running back, Damon Claiborne, bursts up the middle.
Mitch Griffis told us this week he's like a glitch. A glitch in the matrix, so to speak. Every time he touches the football, he can score.
Yeah, I think there's been a glitch. When he touches the ball, he's like, I'm here. No, I'm here.
A little extra beef in the backfield, and the handoff on the right side. It'll be 2nd and goal. They brought in an extra offensive lineman. We've seen that formation at times for Wake Forest. Bringing in Wyatt Crespi as an extra blocker. Well, a chance for the Deacs to make it a one-score game after all that's happened here in the last 20 minutes of real time or so.
We talked about it. They've struggled putting the ball in the end zone, in the red zone this year. Already in this game, they've had the turnover in the red zone. So can they finally put it in?
Claiborne right side, stopped short of the 5. 3rd down and goal after a gain of 2.
Jason Henderson may only get a half tackle or an assist on that one, but he made that play. The collision with the lineman in the hole, pushing the running back inside. Wake likes to go to these bunch looks. You're going to get single coverage to the top, bunch look to the bottom.
Grimes in the 6'2 frame. Manned up in the end zone, front pylon. Griffiths will try to escape and buy some time, and he cannot. Sacked all the way back at the 20. Denzel Lowry reached him in time. And a massive loss of 12. Mitch Griffiths, we've seen that at times today, holding on to the football a bit too long.
It's cost him today. He's still down. You hope he's all right. He's been so tough today, just battered constantly. There's a lot of beef falling on him on that sack. And this is really a coverage sack. It's a nice job on the back end of covering up all the receivers and just gives the defensive lineman time to work and work and work. And finally, Denzel Lowry is able to get through. Falls right on top of Mitch Griffiths. That's 280 pounds of angry man that's coming after the quarterback.
It's the 4th ODU sack today. T-Mac?
Well, guys, Mitch Griffiths has been in and out of the tent all afternoon. He had the wind knocked out of him in the first half, but he just keeps getting up and going back out and playing. So it feels like this is a culmination of what's happened all day long.
You've been sacked 4 times. You've been harassed. The scoop and score, the pick 6. There's a lot that's been happening for a guy making his 4th career start, his 3rd this season. He'll get up under his own power. That's a good sign. Well, you wonder if Michael Kern, backup quarterback, is thinking about getting in this game. If you're Warren Ruggiero or Dave Clawson, trying to protect your starter.
You certainly don't want to go that way, but if your starter can't protect himself because he's banged up, then it's your responsibility as a coach to do it. But Roy, I think you nailed it. Mitch Griffiths.
I mean, that's 290 pounds and 300 pounds crashing down.
You do the math there, I'm not so good.
You went to Georgia Tech.
Okay.
36-yard field goal. It's a lot of beef, as you said. Matthew Dennis, middle of the field. Only 1 miss on the season, and that time bangs it through. They'll make it 24-13. A couple of ticks of the clock remaining in our 3rd quarter. And now you're a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and a field goal potentially away from tying things up. And for Dave Clawson, he'll take it. 3rd quarter, Wake Forest has been awake. First 2 quarters, not so much.
Yeah, but still, the inability to score touchdowns has really loomed large for Wake Forest. They've been in the red zone a number of times, but they're moving the ball a lot better. Question is going to be about Wake Forest's quarterback, Mitch Griffiths' health. See what Old Dominion, 0 yards. And penalty yardage, quick 3 and out. Penalties made another. I believe that one ended up being 3 and out. It was about 12 plays that they ran, but because of the penalties, I think there were only 3 official ones. 4 plays is what I'm being told. It's been frustrating for Wake Forest that you've dominated that 3rd quarter and yet only chipping into that lead.
I would be careful kicking to James, given the game he's had. And wouldn't you know it, from the 3. And this time lassoed from behind to the 12. Great coverage, a 9-yard return. And poor field position now for ODU. 4 seconds remaining in the 3rd.
Can this ODU offense find rhythm as we get into the fourth quarter and they've got the football? What does Kevin Decker dial up? And Roy, I'm going to be honest, I don't know that you go tempo on this drive early on. I think you're trying to get the best play, not just get a play. But we'll see what they decide to do as we'll get the quarter break after this one.
Roche, the back, flanking Wilson. First down, the zone read. There goes Roche. Big time yardage. Hit at the 45. A helmet comes flying off. There comes a flag. What will be the final play of the third quarter ends with a bang and a gain of 34.
Time expired. During the play, we will go to the fourth quarter. Personal foul, face mask. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty out of hands and run. Automatic. First down.
A costly mistake by A.J. Williams. An upset brewing in Norfolk, Virginia. The big gainer, Devin Roche, give him 15 more on the end of this run. ODU on the move again at home.
Welcome back here to Old Dominion. Just moments ago, Mitch Griffis had emerged from the medical tent. He was on the phone talking with coaches upstairs, but then went back into the medical tent. He's holding his left side, guys. Prior to being on the phone, he was warming up on the sideline and kept holding that left side. But here I am on the sideline. He just came back out of the tent, so we'll see if he goes back in.
ODU with the football to start our fourth quarter, and then knocked loose at the 3. Harvey was the intended receiver, and Williams punched it out of there at the last second.
There was a really small window for Grant Wilson to fit that ball into. It was a little behind Harvey. Then the full speed collision.
Harvey remains on the field. And 2 injured on the play as we step aside.
Kevin and Sam here in week 3. Notre Dame trying to get to 4-0. Sam, how about Sam Hartman finding Tobias Merriweather?
He's been everything they expected and more. Notice the patience in the pocket. Merriweather gets behind the receiver and does the rest.
But moments ago, Miles Bailey punched it in.
Giving us the Sam Hartman highlights in the Wake Forest game. The Deacs are trailing by 11 guys. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, and Taylor McGregor here in Norfolk, Virginia. Second down and 10. Williams and Harvey both off the field under their own power moments ago after that collision near the goal line. ODU trying to upset a team from the ACC for the 2nd straight year at home. Roche motions out. Wilson wants to run it, and he will. A stutter step and a dive forward for 2. That's it.
Third down here. Went with an empty package after the running back motioned out of the backfield. What do they dial up here?
Showing tempo, and instead they'll look towards the sidelines. As a defender, how frustrating is that when an opposing offense does what we just witnessed?
Pretty frustrating, because you get in your original call, and what Old Dominion has done is wait until Wake Forest checks to make their final check to try and get in the best play possible.
Little chess match between coordinators. This time it's won by Brad Lambert at Wake Forest. Bryce Gaines crashed the pocket in the sack back of the 41, and ODU out of field goal range after that play.
The big fella, the transfer from Villanova, matched up on the center, powers into the backfield, and continues a frustrating second half for this Old Dominion offense. It looked like they had a little bit of juice, but it was quickly squeezed out by this Wake defense.
Squeezing juice, and Wake Forest now with 7 sacks today. Not indicative of this score.
Right.
But those 2 turnovers that led directly to touchdowns for ODU, the difference. Wobbler of a punt by Dwayne. Morin with a fair catch at the 13. A net of just 27, but poor field position for Wake Forest. All right, the mentality, trailing by 11, and let's see who the quarterback is for head coach Dave Clawson, with Mitch Griffiths in the tent. Michael Kern getting loose. And Griffiths trots out on the field.
Toughness this guy has shown today has been tremendous. The question is, can the level of play pick up just a little bit? He's held on to the ball a lot, which has caused a lot of those hits. You saw the 4 sacks, but the number of pressures have to be at least double that.
A little pace and space, hang and bang, slow mesh. 4-yard gain for Ellison.
He almost went through all of them.
Trying to think of another one.
Ride and decide.
You've been sitting on that one all week.
Oh, for 5 years.
Second down and 5. 2 minutes into our 4th quarter. Deeks undefeated on the season. Wins against Elon and Vanderbilt. Good win against the SEC a week ago in Winston. Ellison, the pass was high. He corralled it. He's right back to the line, and that's it. Sean Asbury, who has been influential in the second half, shall we say, with a tackle.
You know, these safeties do a tremendous job. Asbury and Taj Rael, Terry Jones, they are really good tacklers in space. And now you've got another 3rd down. Wake going with bunch formation to the boundary. Looks like they're keeping a safety to the field, so I'd expect Griffiths to try and find something to the boundary.
Movement and a flag.
False start. Offense number 54. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
6 penalties today against the Deeks, Roddy.
It feels like they've just been constantly getting in their own way. Now you put Blake Seiler, the defensive coordinator for Old Dominion, in a situation where he can send pressure, try and make the ball come out quick. You can drop 8, or you can go to that 2-man, which it looks like structurally that's what they're going to. Those 2 safeties back on the hash, eliminating the deep throws outside, and then man-to-man underneath makes it really tough to find anything quick.
Griffiths. First down, Wake Forest. Good zip on that pass, was in the pocket forever. Williams finally came open in a gain of 14.
Really good protection. It's a fantastic route on the bunch. You get singled up with Nolan Johnson, the cornerback, does a good job of turning him around, working back to the quarterback. Griffiths hangs in the pocket despite all the hits he's taken and delivers a strike.
First down, Ellison to the edge and then some. Justice Ellison stays alive. A gain of 11. That'll move the chains again for the Deacons. Well, Ellison has been a difference maker in his return. Now approaching 100 yards on the ground on just 15 touches.
And they've really run the ball better in the second half than they did in that first half.
Big possession for Wake Forest. That pass batted down as we check in with Kevin Connors.
Yeah, Roy, wild momentum swing for Boston College against number 3 Florida State. Check out Kyrie Johnson on the scoop and score.
Fumble, ball gets out, you scoop, you score, all of a sudden you're close to a 1-possession game.
They did not convert the 2-pointer. It's a 9-point game, Roy, on ABC.
31-22 with just over 11 minutes to go in Chestnut Hill. 2-score game here. Banks corralled quickly, and he'll be dropped for a loss of 1. Rashid Reason gave him another reason not to go back to that play, Roddy.
It's too easy. Really good break, though, by Rashid Reason. Lamarian James has been the man, and he's their best cover corner, but honestly, he's run about 700 yards today on returns, bringing up a big 3rd down. A lot of people around the line of scrimmage. Last time they showed this, they brought 7, made Mitch Griffiths throw the ball, and ended up in an interception.
Wake Forest has lived in 3rd down and long this afternoon. Just 3 of 13. Griffiths quickly across the middle. Banks has it into ODU territory. Another first down through the air.
That time it's one-on-one. It doesn't end up being the all-out blitz, but Jamal Banks just wins. Pushes off, gets the inside leverage on the corner, and a good delivery by Mitch Griffiths.
Griffiths told us this week, me and Jamal Banks are so close. We've been here forever. It's our time. He'll heave one deep. He has a man. That's a touchdown for Morin. Taylor Morin to the end zone, his second score of the afternoon, and the Deacs are back in it.
And Wake Forest has to go for two. Down 11, you go for two to try and pull within 3. Mitch Griffiths wisely running down the field, holding up the 2 to make sure that offense stays on the field. But a great delivery by the quarterback to score the touchdown.
24-19, and the Deacs using tempo after the touchdown. Ellison, the running back. Griffiths surveys to the end zone, wide open, and a 3-point game. Here comes a penalty flag. Williams caught it. And this one's coming back.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a pass interference on the offense.
Pass interference, offense number 80. 15-yard penalty, redraw.
Now if you're Wake Forest, you get moved back 15, you still have to go for it. It doesn't do you any good to kick the field goal. You still have to score a touchdown to take the lead, or to kick the extra point. It looks like that's what they're going to do. Doesn't really do you any good. You still have to score a touchdown. It does help you on the back end, though, if you are able to score that touchdown, but
interesting analytics in play. The 35-yard extra point versus going for 2. Trailing by 5. Just under 10 minutes to go. And Dennis will bang it through from long distance. It only counts as 1. And our new score, 24-20, 9:45 remaining in this one.
Well, this is what makes this play, the slow mesh, so hard. The safeties get caught with their eyes in the backfield. Taylor Morin ends up with the catch and brings it to a 4-point game.
ESPN College Football is presented by Sling TV, the college football you love, the live TV you love, and in part by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
Wake Forest has trailed by as many as 17 points this afternoon. The Deacs have not led. It's 24-20, less than 10 to go. Back inside of Ballard Stadium. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor. So glad you could join us on a Sunsplash Saturday, where college football returns for week number 3, and chaos and upsets to come. ODU will get it back after another brilliant Wake Forest drive in this second half, starting with a couple of third-down conversions deep in Wake territory.
And 3rd and longs, this one a 3rd and 10 that Mitch Griffiths hangs in there and completes to Keyshawn Williams. Then they get a 3rd and 11 later in the drive. Jamal Banks comes up big. And say what you want, Wake Forest fans, that slow mesh is still around. Taylor Morin gets behind the defense, all the safeties with their eyes in the backfield, and it ends in a big touchdown. Really gritty performance by Mitch Griffiths. We weren't even sure if he was coming out for that drive after being in and out of the medical tent.
Nothing slow about that play with the slow mesh and the touchdown strike to Morin. Mitch Griffiths somehow, some way has survived being crushed. And he has his team perhaps on the verge of a comeback. Not only big for Wake Forest, but also big for the ACC on the road at a Group of 5 program. Wick straight ahead as we check in with Taylor McGregor.
Well, you talk about Mitch Griffiths. What I can tell you is he is instilling confidence into his guys here on the sideline. Despite everything we've talked about in and out of the injury tent, this guy is there for his teammate and he's competing.
Wilson, the far sideline, and it was caught cleanly, and that's enough for a first down for Kelby Williams. ODU being somewhat aggressive here, hanging on to a 4-point lead.
Pretty good subtle movement in the pocket there by Grant Wilson.
And the chain's slow to move there. They were showing third down for a minute. It was enough for a first down. Monarchs will take their time.
This drive started Old Dominion second half, only 35 yards of offense.
Tunnel screen to Page. Isaiah across the 40. 5 yards on first down.
Put a little bit of momentum. Look, we've said it a number of times, but this Wake Forest defense has only given up 10 points today. 14 points off turnovers, a scoop and score, a pick six. This would be one of their biggest stops of the game if they're able to get Old Dominion off the field on this drive.
And you think about ODU and Grant Wilson. He's done a nice job today, for the most part, protecting the football. Off of play action, wants to go long, spun down, and down it goes. Well, it took a second for all of that to unfold, but Jacob Roberts will get credit for a sack, the 8th of the afternoon for the Wake Forest defense.
Kind of a strange sack because he kind of just grabbed like the arm and back hip of Grant Wilson and folded like a folding chair a little bit. He does a good job of protecting the football, but kind of gets ripped down by his arm.
Is that a Willie Nelson song that I've forgotten?
It's a
Kenny
great
Rogers.
Yep, you're sure. Let's go with that. Love that.
3rd and 11. Wilson just 2 of 5 in the passing department in this second half. We just saw a couple of those completions on this drive. Back to the air, not this time. Roberts again. Ball pops out. And for the moment, Wake Forest has it, first down and goal at the 6. Jasheen Davis came up with a fumble. And another massive momentum shift in this one.
What a massive defensive play for Wake Forest. When it felt like they needed it the most, Jacob Roberts lined up down on the line of scrimmage. Ball certainly looks like it's out before Grant Wilson's leg hits the ground, but he wraps all the way around, does Jacob Roberts. And then the wherewithal to get his arm in there and rip the ball out. Massive play by this Wake Forest defense.
The Deacs have been stifling in this second half, and Brad Lambert, who he talked about Jacob Roberts this week. We asked about not having Chase Jones. He said Jacob Roberts has probably been our biggest surprise. He has stepped up when we've absolutely had to have him. And he's been an impact for us. And then what we just witnessed, the fumble recovery. The Deacs have a chance to grab their first lead of the game. Was 17-0 at halftime in favor of ODU. Claiborne jumped over the pile at the 5. It'll work for a gain of 2, and that's it.
Often do you see a guy jump over the pile or jump over some legs and then land on his feet and get some more yardage? Tremendous.
I take it that never happened to you at Georgia Tech.
Oh, no, you just get blasted when you go up in the air. You just got to know that you're going to take a hit and end up on the ground hurting.
Under 7 to go. Griffiths rolls out. Griffiths to the end zone. Banks is there. And there was some contact. He created the separation. Wake Forest has its first lead of the game.
That was one of those let them play penalties, or let them play plays, Roy. Because it was probably a hold before that by the defender. Then you get a little push off. Ends up being like it was on both sides, so let him go. How about Wake Forest, though? The defense once again coming up big.
26-24. Dennis on for the PAT. He'll pound it through. How about the fumble that was forced by Jacob Roberts? The recovery by Davis, Roddy.
Wake Forest defense coming up with a play right when they needed it, basically serving it up to the offense on a silver platter, and Jamal Banks Seals the deal.
Well, don't look now, but Mitch Griffis has thrown for nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns after a bit of a shaky start under duress. And the law firm of Williams, Banks, and Morin have gotten the job done somehow, some way, so far on this Saturday afternoon in Norfolk. Here comes Lamarian James. He scored twice today on defense, not this time on special teams. Kevin Connors, what do you have?
Roy, we've got Oklahoma and Tulsa waiting in the wings here up on ESPN2. Dylan Gabriel, only Notre Dame's Sam Hartman has more 4-touchdown games. You'll see that one coming up next. And speaking of Notre Dame, former Irish QB Tyler Buchner going to start in place of Jalen Milroe, Bama and USF on ABC.
Good game on ABC right now as well between Boston College and Florida State. KC, thanks for that update. And you take a look at what Wake Forest been able to do in this second half. Suddenly dominant after that last turnover force. And Mitch Griffis finding a way to stay on the field and keeping this offense hot. Monarchs trailing for the first time here at home. Carry it over the left side for a gain of 3, and that's it. It was Roche stopped by Garnes.
It's like the game has completely been flipped on its head, especially with this ODU offense.
And just like that, it's 3rd down. Quick give, stopped by Jacob Roberts. So Roberts now with 13 tackles, 3 sacks, and 4 TFLs.
That's pretty good.
That's a good month.
Forced fumble in there as well. It's a good month, yeah, no kidding.
(27-24) Deeks. Wake Forest showing pressure.
Another secondary check from Old Dominion, but it ended up in a false start.
False start. Offense number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
The chess match between Kevin Decker, the offensive coordinator for Old Dominion, and Brad Lambert, the defensive coordinator for Wake Forest, has been tremendous pre-snap. The number of times you've seen checks, fake checks, almost checks. We're going to run the ball now. Nope, we're going to check again.
Some of those checks have bounced.
Yes, they have.
Under 5.5 to go. 3rd down and long for ODU. Wilson steps ahead. He'll buy some time. Wants to go long, has a man breaking open. He twists and turns out of bounds and incomplete. It was Williams that had a chance for a moment, and the coverage was there by Carson, staring into that sunlight, and that play probably never had a chance.
Well, it did have a chance for a second because Grant Wilson did a great job getting out of the pocket, but when he has to get out of the pocket, reset his feet, and then deliver downfield, the mechanics just weren't there. The arm slot got low. The ball faded towards the sideline. If he'd have given his receiver a chance, I think Kelby Williams had a pretty good shot at it, especially if you're able to get that ball down the field, but it fades too far to the sideline. He's got no shot.
The only touchdown scored in this second half by the Monarchs came on the pick 6 by James. Advantage Brad Lambert and this Wake Forest defense. After a punt of 37, the offense gets it back with a 3-point lead. 5:06 to go in Norfolk.
Gigantic roll of the dice on 4th and 2, but Boston College's Thomas Castellanos delivers, dancing his way in. Number 3 Florida State up by only 2 on ABC. And Andrell Anthony and Oklahoma, a 45-game win streak against unranked teams. OU and Tulsa coming up next. Roddy. Roy.
Roddy, it all works for us. R&R. Welcome back to Norfolk. Wake Forest with possession. And Claiborne sent backwards. No gain on the play. mentioned Oklahoma Tulsa coming up next. We saw OU in person back in week 1. They blitz Arkansas State 73-0. Closer game last week against SMU. Curious on the road at Tulsa what that looks like as soon as we're done here in Virginia.
I am too. Because week 1, it looked like that offense was fixed. Dylan Gabriel was the best quarterback in the country. That receiver room was fantastic. And then last week, he took a step back a bit against SMU.
Jason Henderson and this defense make a play. Banks will make it third and medium. Taylor.
You talked about Jason Henderson. He had to get his defense together with a rallying cry and said, we still have this game. Let's go. Old Dominion's defense was really the reason this team was having success, and they want to be the reason that they still get a W at the back end of this game.
It's a big third down for this Old Dominion defense. I think if I'm Blake Seiler, you dial up pressure here. And if you're Wake Forest, you anticipate that. I want to give Mitch Griffiths time, and they haven't gotten to him quite as much in the second half, especially as we've gotten into it.
Third down and 5. Griffiths retreats into the flats. First down, Wake Forest. Williams. Nice running after the catch, a gain of 15.
They opted to drop, and it's a really nice play. Sort of a quintessential Wake Forest offensive play if you've watched them through the years, where they condense the formation. You end up getting a lot of room with your slot receiver to the out route, get them lined up against a safety or a big corner, and then you're able to get the first down.
Mitch Griffiths over 300 yards passing after that last completion. 3 touchdowns, the 2 picks, the second half. Much more efficient, much more productive for the Wake Forest quarterback.
And now you're going to see Wake really pump the brakes on offense as we get under 3 minutes.
Old Dominion with 3 timeouts remaining. Deep handoff, Claiborne against the grain across the 35, and nice running for a 5-yard pickup.
Old Dominion takes a timeout. Blake Seiler has called a really nice game with this Old Dominion defense.
30-second timeout.
And in that situation, you're trying to play what are the tendencies of the offense? What do they like to go to? But Wake with a nice counter on that third down.
Now, don't forget, coming up later tonight, 2 ESPN primetime games. Number 11, Tennessee in the Swamp against Florida. That's up first at 7 Eastern for Pacific. And Coach Prime, number 18, Colorado, squaring off against rival Colorado State. The Rocky Mountain Showdown, live from Boulder. What a night for football. Real quick, it was great to see the Game Day gang in Boulder earlier today. How about First Take and Stephen A. Smith and company hanging out with Coach Prime late in the week as well? I want to hear some more college football conversations on First Take. Let's bring the sports to Stephen A. Smith. Is that okay to say on the air? I want more college football, Molly.
Hey, Stephen A. likes stars, and there's no bigger star in our sport right now than Deion Sanders. So that, Colorado winning, has been great for college football.
Out of the timeout, 2nd and 5. Claiborne stopped at the line, driven backwards by Asbury. Another timeout coming for the Monarchs. It'll be 3rd and 5 for Dave Clawson's crew.
ODU calls their second charge timeout of the half. This is the 30-second timeout.
And if you're Dave Clawson, because of where the clock is right now, the only thing that can stop the clock is an incomplete pass. That has to play into your mind with this play call. Do you put the ball in the air, risk an incompletion, and then stop the clock for Ricky Ronnie, or do you potentially put the ball in the air and go for the first down? I would anticipate Wake Forest says, you know what, forget the clock. We get this first down, and this game is all but over. So I wouldn't be surprised. They've gone to a lot of bunch formations in these situations on 3rd down. Remember, Roy, early on they were doing it to the boundary. And what Old Dominion was doing was putting a safety over the top to the field, forcing you to run those routes in the condensed space. They started to do it to the field, and that's what you're getting now. You're going to get a bunch of receivers with the tight end and 2 receivers close to the formation at the bottom, making a lot of room out wide down to the bottom.
Ellison, the running back, on 3rd and 6. Monarchs show pressure. Here comes Henderson. Ellison the handoff. Nowhere to go and stop for another massive loss. E.J. Green sprung through. It'll be 4th down for Wake Forest.
Ricky Rahne opts to take his last time out. So it did play into it. They do decide to hand the ball off. Massive play, though, for Old Dominion, because you could have flirted with a long field goal where they were before, but after the loss, you're not even thinking about it.
Monarchs out of timeouts. We'll check in again with Kevin Connors back in the studio.
All right, Roy, a look at Danny Stutzman, an Oklahoma team that has not lost to Tulsa since 1942. If you're looking for this game, it's going to start over on ESPN News, 3:32 kickoff. Roy.
KC, thank you. We've got some unfinished business here. ODU and head coach Ricky Rahne trying to come back after leading for most of the afternoon, and Dave Clawson's bunch. What a comeback it has been for them. And quarterback Mitch Griffiths probably grew up a little bit today.
Yeah. Would say the ice bath, ice tub is in his near future.
Isaiah Page back deep to receive this Ivan Mora punt. Not the best day for Mora. A sidewinder. It's going to sail out of bounds, and let's see where they mark this. Inside the 10 at the 8-yard line, so a bit unorthodox there, but it pays off the 32-yard net. And poor starting field position for ODU. How big is this moment for ODU, this program, and head coach Ricky Rahne trying to beat another Power 5 team at home? They did it last year to Virginia Tech. And having to come back to do it in a different fashion this go around.
And it's important that you have everyone on the same page. 2:29, no timeouts. Remember the clock rules and how it doesn't stop, doesn't stay stopped till after 2 minutes. If you go out of bounds, doesn't stop at all until after 2 minutes after a first down.
On first down, Dutton near midfield, contact, no flags. ODU, Roddy, with just 5 yards of offense in this second half. Deshaun Jones in coverage there on Dominic Dutton.
I like the decision to take a shot deep to the former track runner at South Carolina. Little handsy on the back end. Ultimately, I think a good no call against Deshaun Jones. Honestly, that type of play hasn't been called all day.
Second down and 10. Monarchs will have 3 more downs to pick up a first. And the handoff ahead to the 10. That's it. Maybe a gain of 1 by Roche. Pointer the tackle.
This Wake defensive line has been so active in the second half. That time you get a blitz off the edge. Forces the tackle.
Our Granger had to hurry to get set near the top of the screen. And on third down, Wilson delivers the comeback route out of bounds, and it's 4th and long. Dylan Hazen applying the pressure. That middle linebacker spot, 24 in white for the Deacs.
Yeah, it's just, we've seen a number of these throws from Grant Wilson. Yes, it's under pressure, but it's been a number of times where hasn't really given his receivers a chance by throwing it out of bounds. And now here's the game. 4th down and 9. Wake Forest has really dominated up front, so they don't have to send more than 4 or maybe 5 to get pressure. At least they haven't.
On 4th down, Wilson has it. Wilson's going to be sacked, and that'll do it. Inside the 1-yard line, he goes down. Jasheen Davis had the fumble recovery moments ago. He comes up with a sack on 4th down here. And Wake Forest, after all that's happened today, is going to find a way to survive on the road at ODU.
Unbelievably gritty performance. Watch Jasheen Davis on the right side. Just throws a 300-pound man, and Chris Adams back away from him to get that sack. That is some power from Davis off the edge. Running back's got no shot. What a job by this Wake Forest team when you look at what they've done defensively, keeping this offense in the game. Special teams had a big punt return to help them out. Defense gave them a touchdown, served on a silver platter after a fumble. And then offense finally puts it away after bite after bite after bite of the apple. They finally get it done. A gritty win for Dave Clawson's team on the road.
Deacs will improve to 3-0. Old Dominion out of timeouts. A school record 10 sacks today for the Wake Forest defense. And they needed every single one in this second half to complete the 17-point comeback on the road. Roddy, not only a big win for Dave Clawson and for Wake Forest, for the ACC as well. On the road at a group of 5, we showed you the graphic earlier. There have been a couple of losses going back to 2020 for the year. For the league, rather.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk around the league about whether or not you should even be playing these games. The ACC plays them more than anybody. A lot of that has to do with the finances of the departments, the athletic departments in the ACC, not wanting to pay the $1 million+ to have a team like Old Dominion come to you. So you do the home and home. You put yourself at risk, though, when you go on a road anywhere, especially against a good team from the Sun Belt. This Wake Forest team, especially offensively, did everything they could to sleepwalk through this game until late into that second half. But the defense and the special teams kept them in it.
Dave Clawson's team rallies from a 17-0 halftime deficit and holds on to win on the road by a final score of 27-24.
Got to say, gritty performance by Mitch Griffis. He got battered today. There were times we didn't think he was coming back. He was fantastic, though, when it mattered.
Wake Forest remains undefeated in 2023. Mitch Griffis throws for 312 yards, the 3 touchdowns, and he survived a monster performance by this ODU defense through the first 3 quarters. 27-24 our final score. For Roddy Jones, Taylor McGregor, and our entire crew, I'm Roy Philpott. Thanks for watching this presentation of college football. Oklahoma and Tulsa coming up next. Say hello to Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler.